Hello and welcome to the Horror Hangout, a podcast, sometimes a videocast, outside broadcast, where film fans watch the best and worst horror movies of all time and talk about them. My name is Andy Conduit-Turner, and I'm joined by my regular co-host.
It's Mr. Ben Errington.
Mr. Ben, live in the field, Errington. Hello, nice to see you, my friend. In case you can't tell from the ambient noise, we're in Old London town. There's
some serious ambient noise going on. It's proper kicking off. I say it's kicking off. I can smell the old Mary Jane. Maybe. I'm going to adjust the view of the camera now, so it looks like you can see the sign. I hope nobody walking past thinks I'm trying to film up people's skirts, because I'm not. I'm literally trying to film the...
Making sure that you say those things at the same time, so no one can chop the audio specifically to get you. We're here, Ben. Right. We're about 20 minutes away from the first film of the festival. We're about to go and see the premiere of Broken Bird. Yeah. We've got a lot of films on over the next 4 days. Are you excited?
Of course I'm excited. I'm always excited. And you say 4 days, then? You say 4 days. It's 5 days, isn't it? Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
It's true. It's because they don't count bank holidays on the banks.
No, your bloody face. Now, my face wasn't sad at the thought of watching 5 days worth of films. It was merely computing that and what it meant for my ass. From my bum cheeks.
Winona Ryder style.
Winona Ryder, what?
Thinking, doing maths. Nothing to start above.
Oh, right, okay. I thought you meant because of her bum, which apparently no. But yeah, we're at the Odeon. Obviously, last year we were
just over the way of the Empire.
Over the way. I feel like our mouths are really close for sharing a microphone. It feels like I could lean and kiss you, or I'm at least been able to know exactly what you've eaten recently. It's because I watched him do it. So yeah, we're at Odeon rather than Cineworld, and yeah, excited. It feels like we were here merely minutes ago, but it was a whole bloody year.
Oh yeah, and I tell you what, this time, Ben, check me out. Double lanyards. We have our festival passes and our press credentials. We have turned legit.
We've officially turned legit. Last year, I think we were supposed to have press credentials, but like the absolute mavericks we are, we just didn't pick them up. We went rogue. We didn't pick them up, and we are still going to go rogue as well. We are definitely going to go rogue. So, yeah, Broken Bird today. There's a couple more screenings. Test screening as well.
Test screening, and then I'm closing out. There's a couple of choices, but I'm finishing up my evening with The Invisible Raptor, an encore after we first saw it at Glasgow earlier this year. How about you?
Yeah, I'm going to watch Invisible Raptor as well. Mike Capes is here. He's in London town. We're going to catch up with him again. Last time he gave us a live demonstration of the effect of him leaning on a breathing Invisible Raptor. So maybe I'll do it again. Maybe I'll do something else.
There are, I'm going to say, pernicious rumours around there may be Invisible Raptor action figures available this evening.
I've heard this as well. And if I don't get my hands on one, I'm going to be absolutely devastated. I will fight someone, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jingle All the Way, Turbo Man style, for an Invisible Raptor action figure, right?
If I don't get an Invisible Raptor, Ben, I am going one to Veruca Salt in seconds, mate. On that front, on relevant cultural reference, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, let's get in there and take our seats, eh? Might get a little glass of pop.
A little glass of pop. A wee dram.
Right?
We will obviously be interviewing as many people as we can, delivering reviews throughout the festival. We've seen quite a lot of the films previously as well, so we're going to try and squeeze in reviews for those films that we watched at home. And then yeah, we're locked in for 5 days.
What was our episode length last time? About 3.5 hours of interviews and reviews?
It's not all about length, Andy. I've told you this on more than one occasion. Don't worry about it.
Doesn't matter. What we've got to work on, Ben. What can you expect? I'm going to expect everyone to hear us.
I think
the rest of us sound a lot hoarser, maybe look a tiny bit tireder, but be very excited.
I think last time we approached 3 hours. This time maybe we could do more. Maybe we could streamline it a little bit. Who knows? Who knows what we're in for? I'm excited.
Anyway, the wind blows, Ben. Right, let's get in there.
Hangout.
We are here at FrightFest opening film. We just have the opening film, which was called Broken Birds.
Yeah, it's good, wasn't it?
Enjoy it? It was really good. So I wasn't sure what the hell was going on for a while, but I was fascinated pretty much the whole way through. And then it's one of those plots that takes you in so many different directions. And it's hinged by an incredible lead performance. I think that lead performance is what makes it so interesting, right?
It's really striking, isn't it? That lead performance, it's so compelling. And I think the thing is, for a character who I would say is fairly overtly sinister or villainous from the very beginning, still has a lot of sympathy about her. Really, really compelling character, really, really great, strong performance. And then just looking at the film as well, I felt like it had lots of scope to be in slightly differently written or slightly differently performed. It could have been in so many subgenres or twisted. Like, you could have had an Amelie, like, wondrous, romantic, whimsical comedy film.
I was thinking Amelie at one point. Should we shift down a little bit? I feel like
Someone that you can maybe have an interview with then.
no, I haven't done that, but I feel like, as I always do at these busy events, I always feel like I'm in the way.
I know, it's like, we live in simpler places, Ben. We're not used to these big city lights of London. We like smaller places. Crowds are very triggering in a post-COVID world.
I feel like I shrink into my own shell, and I'm still in the way of about 5 or 6 people, so I struggle with that. Yeah, great lead performance. I was kind of getting Black Swan vibes, Psycho vibes. You said Amelie just then, which I was thinking, and maybe that was the soundtrack. It was kind of framed in a way that made it feel like a bit of a love story, a very unconventional love story initially.
Yeah, like, there is, like, a romance to it, and there's a lot of beauty to it, and, like, you know, the fact that the main character is very focused on poetry and that use of language as well, and the imagery that she conjures, like, in her own mind, I think it's really imaginative, and as well, like, it has quite a dark undertone to the entire film, but equally, it could have been a romance, it could have been a comedy, or, equally, I could have hardened the edges a little bit more and seen it as a full-on, like, franchise slasher as well with this character, so much scope this one, but I'm not saying that because I wanted it to go in any of those different directions. It was a really solid, enjoyable opening first movie for me. Set the bar.
It's set the bar, and it's not surprising it's been chosen as the opening movie as well. So the director is Joanne Mitchell. We would like to try and get an interview of her. We might be able to. But yeah, her debut feature, very, very strong directorial debut, but also it had that DNA of a film. Like, she understands what kind of film she wants to make. With that, great performances, great writing as well. This finale, when there's a finale that comes around, I was like, what is going to happen? What the hell is going to happen?
Yeah, I've taken some about finales recently from your friend of mine, Luke Condor with a K, in a recent message where he was saying he loves an ending to a story which almost hits like a punchline.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we got in that finale there. No spoilers of this one. I know we usually spoil films, but not at festival time.
No spoilers. I think watch this film for an amazing central performance, amazing supporting performances as well, and just a film that will keep you on the edge of your seat pretty much throughout.
And I think there's something you can look up as well. Like, I've certainly added it to my homework list. When Joanne was up on stage, she mentioned that this was an expansion into a feature from her short movie called Sybil, which is the name of the main character. So what I'm hoping to do now when we get home, we've got enough bloody movies to deal with the rest of this weekend, but I'll certainly be seeing if I can access that when I get home as well.
Highly recommended. Broken Bird. We will be checking back in with you. We've got a couple more films to watch today. Let's try and grab as many people as we can also to talk about horror movies. We like doing that, don't we?
Yeah. Doesn't matter whether you're in films, you're making films, you're behind, in front of the camera, or even at the cinema screen like us. At the cinema, we want to chat with you.
Andy has said even people who are working at the cinema, serving drinks, you want to know, hey, what's going on? What's your favourite film of the year?
What's a popcorn have you handled today?
Sweet or salted? Sometimes you like a mixture.
I always like a mixture, man.
I love a good mixture, because then no matter what handful goes into your mouth, it's a treat for the senses. It's always a surprise.
Yeah, that sets the high bar for your cinema snacking. Speaking of which, we get some snacks.
I think we should get some snacks. I'm sorry I've got my hand on you like this. I feel like I need.
Usually remote. It's nice to have a little bit.
It's nice to have a bit of human contact and interact, because your life is on contract. Your best bet is to stay away.
Motherfucker, you know why?
Go on.
It's one of them days. Well, see you later, everyone, after the next one. Bye.
Hangout.
Hello there. I have just been very lucky enough to catch Rebecca Calder, star of our opening film this weekend, Broken Bird. Rebecca, great performance. Thank you so much. How was it seeing this in front of an audience for the first time?
yeah, it was interesting. They laughed a lot more than maybe I would have thought, which is brilliant because that's, it's laced with sort of all of these undertones. But yeah, it was wonderful to be with a horror audience, especially.
And, we were just saying, Ben and I, we interviewed where we spoke to each other about the film, such a commanding central performance and such an engaging character. What sort of influences did you pull from to put this character together and bring it to life?
Lots of different ones, but she was unlike so many other female characters I'd ever seen, and the only one I could really sort of relate to was Joaquin Phoenix in The Joker. I just felt like the backstory of trauma and loss and how one deals with those things and mental health as well, and mental illness. Yeah, so that was one of them, but it was so unique as a character. It's hard to anything else. So it was sort of very much a layering process.
Wonderful. I mean, no secret from us, we're recommending people go and see this one if they get the opportunity to, and there is already talk of an opportunity for people, at least in the UK, to do that quite soon, right?
Yes, I believe it has a limited release in the UK cinemas from the 30th of August. So I'm hoping there's some cinemas in the northeast where I'm originally from where my lot can go and see it too.
Wonderful. So I know there's going to be a lot of people that want to talk to you tonight after seeing that on the screen, and you probably want a drink after watching a big audience, watching a movie on the big screen. So I will let you get back to your evening, but thank you so much for having a few minutes for us, and then go and catch Broken Bird when you can. Then I've got some homework for you for the show notes.
Hello, we're here with Joanne Mitchell, director of Broken Bird, mere minutes after your film premiered at FrightFest in the main screen. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I think it went down well. It's not a big, loud, screamy film. It's quite an intense, dark, quiet film. And I think the audience seemed to get it. There were, I think the audience were listening, following the story and the characters. And, the moments where there's a few chuckles, I think they got that. I think it went good. I think it went well. I was happy.
I bet you're feeling pretty overwhelmed. I bet there's lots of adrenaline going around as well currently.
Yes, of course. It's massive, isn't it? You kind of go, oh, everything. The weight's lifted off my shoulders now, and I can go and have a few drinks.
A few drinks sounds good. Obviously, some great performances, some really, really complex characters. The writing, I feel, just really elevated all of that. That was just next. I feel like that was next level. So you feel like the audience reacted in potentially correctly in the right places. There was obviously comedy, there was romance of sorts, and horror, of course.
Yes, there's definitely romance. I think that's important because that's Sybil's quest is to find love and belonging, and so that we had to really root that in the truth. And I think Rebecca did an incredible job with that. And then obviously not forgetting the horror. We have to have, it's a genre film. She does some pretty monstrous things. And black humor, black comedy, it's there, and that's thanks to a really great screenplay by Dominic Runt and Tracy Shields, who was the original story. We started off with the short film Sybil, so yeah, we worked on the story a lot together. So all in all, it was I think we made something okay.
I mean, incredible modesty here, but that is more than okay. A fantastic opening film, really enjoyable. Where can audiences expect to now find this film in the future?
So on the 30th of August, it goes on cinema release in the UK. So they'll be at selected, I think it's showcase cinemas in the UK, all up and down the country, for a few weeks, I believe, and then it will go onto VOD.
Wonderful, incredibly exciting. Thank you so much, Joanne, for taking the time. And again, congratulations on Broken Bird.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hello from late night here at London on the first night of FrightFest. We have just come out from the England premiere of The Invisible Raptor, our second time after we were lucky enough to see it in Glasgow earlier in the year. I'm here tonight with one of the other stars of the movie that we haven't met previously, David Shackelford. David, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you again. I'm happy to be here.
So we tempted you over to the UK a second time. How was it seeing it with a London audience tonight?
It's brilliant. was brilliant, man. We had a cracking good time. It was awesome. We had fun. Yeah, you know, it's like I was telling you a minute ago. Like, it's so fun to see, like, you know, people laughing at different spots. You know, that the last screening we were at, you know, they laughed at this spot, and they laughed at this spot, or they missed a joke because they're laughing here. But it's awesome, man. It's a good time. It's a fun movie.
And, you know, as for us, the second time watching, I still found it so enjoyable. I've been going on about it all year to anyone who would listen. And the time appears to be close upon us. The news was announced just before we had our screening tonight that it is on the way to a wider audience.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, they actually sold the film. I think the U.S. rights, everything. In the U.S., they're still working on the international stuff, but I think we're looking pretty good in that department. But yeah, we're very excited. This is a great day. We got the screen here, you know, in this beautiful city of London, and we sold our film over in the U.S. I mean, you know, couldn't be better.
So we're not going to talk spoilers because this is one we want everyone to go out and see. But I think Mike is quite open of talking about how sequels are on the cards. Where would you like to face invisible raptors?
I think it's got to be the jungle. You know, I think we're going to have to wrestle the raptor out in, like, maybe in Hawaii, maybe where they shot Jurassic Park. Maybe we end up there, or maybe South America in the jungle. I don't know. We'll see.
Wherever you haven't been on the holidays yet, right? And
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
and I could not finish an interview without talking about this wonderful merch that we have here, exclusive invisible raptor action figures.
Yeah, this is one of a kind right here.
Yeah, get a good close with it. Can't get these just anywhere, everybody.
You won't be able to find that on Amazon.
Yeah.
Maybe you will.
I mean, the hottest toy 2025, I imagine. But right now, it's just right here. David, you probably deserve a beer at the end of the evening, so let's go and get one, eh? Thank you so much. Take it easy. Enjoy the rest of your festival.
Hangout.
We are walking back from a night out. The first night of FrightFest is completed. It is currently 2:23 a.m. Yes, we are that hardcore. First night of FrightFest done, Ben. What's your immediate takes? What's your verdict so far?
I think it's been pretty good so far, I would say. Pleasantly surprised. Obviously, we've only seen 3 films, but for 2 films I knew absolutely nothing about, followed by a screening of The Invisible Raptor, the English premiere of The Invisible Raptor. I'm feeling pretty pumped. I think overall, you know, there are very few moments where I wasn't thoroughly entertained by what I was watching on the screen. Would you agree with me?
I certainly would. It's been a really high standard, I think, for the first few films that we've seen. London Eye over there, bloody hell. Yeah, get the scenery, the tourists in there. So there's purple lights. Oh yeah, that's that.
Why, man? Tell you what.
So, I mean, we already talked a lot about Broken Bird, and we managed to catch a quick discussion about that just after we came out, and then a couple of interviews as well. Let's move on then, while we're here, and talk a little bit about our second screening, which was called Test Screening. I'm almost reluctant to share some of the films I think this shares DNA with, because I feel they form sort of spoilers. But I did enjoy it an awful lot. It's a film about conformity. It's a film that has a degree of body horror to it. It's a film that really talks about the divergence, the being the other in the situation, and I think an establishment that which wishes to retain control of the population. And I found it just a really entertaining movie. How about you?
May I first say that I watched Andy Conduit-Turner consume several shots of vodka, and that was an incredibly coherent and poetic review that I've seen. I loved it. And he even said hey to someone on the way past, just a reassuring hey. He's such a nice guy. I'll echo everything you said. I thought Test Screening, a film I knew next to nothing about, was a lot of fun. Yeah, like a body horror, 80s set, some nice synth score. And talking of synth score as well, in The Invisible Raptor, the score was done by an artist known as Dream Kid, who I've been a fan of for a while. And he was at the bloody premiere, wasn't he?
He was, and I loved how you recognise him. Like, we walk in the street, see that guy with the purple hair down there? If he's got a South African accent, I think he's Trinket. And I'm going to have to go and see him because I'm a big fan. Good ear. You're the music man, others. So that was a really good pick. Obviously for us, it was a second viewing of Invisible Raptor. How did it hold up to a second time for you?
I would say it held up extremely well. I laughed even more. I forgot certain moments and then remembered them as they were coming up. So I kind of grabbed hold of you just to remind you something big time's coming up. And yeah, we obviously got an interview with David Shackelford, which was good. We didn't do that at FrightFest Glasgow. Had some good times with Mike Capes and the family afterwards. Rushing off to a pub with him, gesturing him to hurry up, keep up. It was fun, it's all part of the FrightFest fun, and we've just been networking like crazy at the old after festival event, after festival drinks currently, weren't we? We've met loads of people.
We have down at the Phoenix Arts Club, which is, I guess, is this like inside chat for people who aren't able to attend festivals very often? I would certainly recommend it, not only for the films you get to see, but for the events you get to go to afterwards. We had a lovely time at the Phoenix Arts Club. Bearing in mind, we only just made it in before the 1 a.m. curfew when they don't allow people inside the building anymore. We have to get ready to cross the road.
I'll take over so you can leave. Having a backpack on in any situation where there's bloody Big Ben behind us as well. There's one Big Ben, and then there's Medium Ben. I'll call myself Medium Ben. Big Andy there. We're on the road. If you listen to this audio only, you're missing loads of stuff. Get yourself onto YouTube, and you'll see us doing a tour of London. I hope this audio is being picked up well. Big Ben. Are we crossing the road? Someone beat their own then. Which way? Let's carry on talking. Don't die. Invisible Raptor, yeah, that was good fun. And yeah, talking about networking, meeting up with, people that we've had on the show that we've never met before, people that we've had on the show that we have met, but it's very nice to catch up with them again. Meeting with people that you only recognize through a Twitter avatar, a Letterboxd avatar, something like that. It's good times.
It has been. It's been a really fun night. We've met loads of news people that we've not met before, but I think of note, people we still hope to get on camera before the weekend is out. We met Jake West. His 4K restoration of Razorblade Smile is on later over the weekend. We both have tickets to that, right?
Yes, indeed.
I do.
So we'll be talking to him more about that over the weekend. Errol Anthony Hayes, we met him again as well. He's a good lad, and we've established a tradition that we have vodka shots of an evening. So that's the thing we've done. We need to turn right over here.
Yeah.
So we met up with him. I would really hope to get his take over the weekend. If we could have.
Sure. Stop there.
That's a still right there. See, I'm glad you wanted. Ben wanted to get an Uber. Everyone, you'd miss all this.
What does that mean? 3 a.m.
0121 fucking do one is what it means. Oh, it means fuck off in Birmingham.
Oh, really?
But,
Should I take over?
No. I got this.
By a car live on the podcast, that'd be horrific.
I mean, good telly though, right? Oh, he looked left. It was all right. Yeah. So yeah, well, we met former guest friend of the show, Zoe, as well, formerly of Ghouls Magazine, former quiz champion with John Crennan.
I'm debating that. I feel like it was mine to lose rather than theirs to win. Do you agree?
I mean, as the quiz host, I have to be impartial in these things, man. I've got to run by what the scores. I've got to run by what the scores say.
Whoa. See that? Right.
No, we're on a bit of a wonk. Well, this is a bit of a loose recording, but this is natural. This is the loosey-goosey content that you come to the Horror Hangout for.
Snatching the microphone away, I apologise. What we got coming up tomorrow, day 2. I know we've got some films.
Let me bring in my notes, Ben. I mean, there's loads of films on. Obviously, we're not able to see everything, even with our busy and hectic schedule. The things that are on my list, we have a film called, well, the English translation is The Ghost. I do not have the Irish title. It was one of the first feature films filmed entirely in Irish. Looking forward to that. In the morning, we have Bookworm at 12:45. And at time of recording, there have been rumours of a big surprise during Bookworm. Whether that means that Elijah Wood himself is coming, or that we're all getting books or worms, we'll find out tomorrow. Lovely jelly worms, I'd be as excited. I also have the short film showcase tomorrow at 3:45 in the afternoon. I love a short film showcase, Ben.
I'm sure you do.
I do. Because you know what? In the space of one film, I'll see in about 10.
It's amazing.
Lots to talk about. Numbers are getting right up there. Shelby Oaks in the evening, and then I'm finishing the evening with Mutilator 2. Not to put you on the spot, do you want to set the camera? Do you want to tell us what you've got on the schedule for tomorrow?
I mean, it does put me on the spot because I can't quite remember, but Shelby Oaks is one of them, which I'm looking forward to. Is the Hitcher tomorrow? Might be Saturday. Yeah, I'm all over the place, but you know, that's what is exciting about this festival. You never quite know what's coming up. You never quite know what's around the corner. But I know what is around the corner for both of us. It's bed, not together.
No, we've got a lovely bed sit with 2 beds, 1 each. We're not that poor. So I'm looking forward to turning in and getting a couple of hours of downtime. So ready for another day, because I will tell you, 5 a.m. start did start to catch up with me in the last film. But we did all right.
5 a.m. start, and he's had a couple of shots of vodka, but you know, he's powering through. We both are. Until tomorrow, see you soon. Bye-bye.
Hello, we're here at day 2 of FrightFest in London. I'm not quite hoarse yet, but I am here with Livvy Hill, whom we just saw in our first film of the day. English is The Ghost, but I'm going to butcher the pronunciation, so can you help me out, please?
Taibhse.
There we go. So, an entirely Irish language movie. Did I hear you say in the Q&A that you had to learn and study the language yourself to perform? How did that go?
Yeah, I didn't know Irish at all, and the film originally was maybe going to be in English because it started as such a small project just for like a horror module in university, and John was just so passionate about bringing the Irish language into it and making this, you know, more of a feature. And it scared me a little bit because, you know, I've come from a background that hasn't really like been any side of, you know, the whole Northern Irish history, like culture or anything. So I grew up not really knowing much about the language at all and its importance. So at first I was scared, very scared to learn it because I know how important it is to people, that I pronounce it right and I play it right and I, you know, take it very seriously. So I wanted to make sure I did that. I studied, I wrote down all my lines, looked up on, you know, translation sites, every word so I could break it down, know exactly what I'm saying. I had a lovely girl, Rebecca, who worked on the film, helped me with pronunciation as well. And yeah, with all that help, and especially Tom, my hussar, it was just, it got easy. As we started filming, it just sort of felt right. And then after that, yeah, it's just waiting for people to tell me I did an okay job pronouncing it. And then everyone has said such good feedback. So
that's great to hear.
I'm just so happy that I get to be part of, like, you know, Irish cinema up and coming.
And I think it's on for a boom. We've certainly enjoyed the last couple of these festivals, a lot more Irish language films. We saw All You Need Is Death, obviously, at FrightFest Glasgow this year. I hear really, really strong things about Kneecap this year. Have you seen it already?
I've seen it. I'm actually working in the school it was filmed in at the minute, and I didn't realise until I saw the film. Yeah, it's phenomenal. Phenomenal. Makes me feel even more proud that we get to follow it up with a fully Irish film. Yeah, just made me feel very proud, and it's a class film.
So the big question is, now that you've done all the study and you've, you know, performed in your first Irish language feature, are you keeping it up?
Yeah, I'm learning Irish very slowly because I work full time in the industry in costumes, so I'm very busy. But yeah, I'm trying to keep it up slowly but surely. I feel very passionate about it now. So yeah.
And the rest of the team, so John and Tom and lots of others, you've got a long history of working together originally as friends, right? Is it nice to be working with your friends, or does that give you a different set of challenges because you're very familiar with each other?
it's great. I think I would prefer to work with them than anyone I didn't know, but then sometimes that has challenges because sometimes you're a bit shy in front of your friends, or, some of the scenes in that, everyone's up in your face with the camera, and John, my mate from uni, is telling me, like, oh, just scream, just do that, yeah, it's a wee bit weird sometimes, but honestly, I would change it, like, the environment on set and just getting to have a laugh after he finished, in between, grabbing dinner, it was the best, so I would happily work with all of them again, and, yeah.
Wonderful. Well, I'm sure there's lots of people who want to talk to you to congratulate having seen your film here in London. Thank you for taking a few minutes with us. Livvy, enjoy the rest of your FrightFest.
Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you.
Hello. I'm here with one of the stars of The Ghost, an Irish language horror film. So it's Tom Kerrisk. Welcome, and first off, congratulations.
Absolutely, man. Thanks very much. How did you like this?
I really did like it. How was the experience of watching it with a big crowd like that?
I'll tell you, there's some intense scenes in it, and it's been so long now since we made it and stuff like that, that basically I can watch it as an audience member, yeah, like I don't like the guy. I don't like him at all. He's proper evil, and there was a few moments up there where, for me, seeing, as an actor sort of like portraying that kind of like, just descent into absolute sort of madness. It's and then like the nature and the themes involved, like, they're very, very heavy. So I got fairly emotional up there, like, but in an angry way, So yeah, but yeah, because the cinema is massive and the sound is massive, and it's like, holy shit.
Yeah, well, I suppose the performance was amplified even more so in that way, especially like some of the sequences, some of the visuals, some of the cinematography. Incredibly, incredibly intense. Was it like very strange to see that performance at that size?
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. It's funny because, I was involved in doing the sound as well, like, the composition for sound and stuff. So I've seen it, but when it all comes together and you actually can sort of like, detach from the work and then you actually watch it as an audience member. Yeah, again, it's a fantastic experience. I mean, but I am slightly sort of like, Jesus, there's trauma, there's triggering points. I was just speaking to a lady there, and she had an abusive father, and I was like, oh Jesus, like, so it bites close to the bone,
Was there anything particular you had to do to get in the right mindset for a role such as that? Did you have to detach yourself completely from the character? Because we were talking like during the screen a little bit, obviously, just quietly. And we were saying, like, it's very intense. We're comparing it to things like The Shining, obviously. I think at one point we said he's got torrented. We did say that. He's got torrented. He's got Jack Torrance. Were there any? So, in terms of getting into the mindset for that role, was there anything you did, or were there any particular films or performances or actors that you kind of lent into?
To be honest with you, obviously when John wrote it and stuff like that, he did say, like, it was loosely sort of like The Shining. Maybe go and watch that, but. Because it's in the Irish language, right, it's a very authentic, original piece of writing. So for me, and I probably shouldn't say this, but it's kind of like, you just have to sort of like surrender and allow the real dark, evil element in you. Like, we all have the shadow side. We all do. And like, as much as we kind of like don't let it come out, I had the freedom to do that. Like, for me to sort of like really interrogate my dark side, like I'm sure you have it too, man. It's just that I'm not saying, but we all do as humans. And when the director pushes you, and like John really is like, I love directors who write and direct, because I'm basically a physical manifestation of what's in their head, and he's got some sick shit in his head. Excuse my cursing, like, but yeah, that. The only thing I'd say is afterwards, it took me a while to kind of like, to ground myself, to sort of like, just get back to being me, play music, and just be a happy person and stuff like that. Like, I had to sort of like stay away from the pub for a while, because if I had a few pints and stuff, like Eamon was coming out. So I was like, that kind of stuff. And I haven't touched whiskey since.
Oh, right.
And I mean that.
Eamon is definitely a whiskey fiend.
He's a fiend, all right, boy.
Highly recommend this film, The Ghost. Check it out. Look for this this behemoth of a performance, we will have to say. Great stuff. And thank you so much for taking the time, Tom. Thank you.
And now we've just managed to catch up with John Farrelly, director of The Ghost. John, thank you for spending some time with us. Yeah, I will defer to you for the official title of the film because I will make a terrible mess of it. So one more time for the audience.
It's all called Taibhse.
Thank you very much. So, John, you've been working with your cast for a lot of films over the years. You kind of come up making films together. How has that grown over the years?
So I first worked with Tom on the Sleep Experiment, a film I made back in 2019, and then Livvy was part in my university, and he met, and she's a phenomenal actor, and then we started collaborating on different short films, and there's like loads of different projects, and then whenever I had the idea for Taibhse, I approached her and I was like, look, I think I have a role for you, and she was like, yeah, sounds good, and then it was great, and look, they're both phenomenal actors. Like, it was a joy to work with them every day, and as well as Tony Murphy too, who played the land steward, worked with him on the Sleep Experiment. So I'd collaborated with everyone before, and then all the crew itself, a lot of them were just my mates that I lived with in uni. So like, I made sure that because of that, I made sure when we were on set, the entire set was harmonious, everyone got on well, and it was just like a lot of fun to make the film, which was helpful because it's such a difficult and dark subject. Having such a good positive atmosphere, everyone supporting each other and helping each other, it was
Yeah, as you say, like a challenging subject, so it is really positive to have like a really tight-knit crew there to support each other through dealing with quite emotionally intense scenes, right? I think you're working, you were really proud of working properly in like an Irish language film. The film is heavily promoted as, being an Irish language film, and I feel like it's coming at a good time. We're seeing a lot more Irish cinema coming out. Must be an exciting time for you to be in the field.
Yeah, it's great because it's our language and it's a beautiful language, and for so long it's been, I'm not going to why, but it's been suppressed, and we haven't seen many films or art in the Irish language, and there's been a great resurgence now in the last few years of Irish language art, and Colin kind of set the scene, getting nominated for the international Oscars, and then now we have Nikolov doing so well, winning the Audience Award at Sundance. So like, it's just so cool, and I'm just really proud as an Irish person to see the Irish language, wrote it internationally, and to have it playing in Leicester Square here. It's a dream come true, and it's just great for the Irish language. Yeah.
Well, hopefully, not guessing your age, John, but you seem like a young director, so more to come from you, right? I hope. Anything you can tell us what you're excited to be working on next?
Well, I'm working on 2 more Irish language films at the moment. I can't really say what they're about just yet, but one is to do with Irish mythology, which is rich in lore. And I love the Irish mythology. I'd love to see movies or stories. I'd love to see a movie told in that. I thought, should maybe work on something. So I'm currently developing that. But yeah, let's see what happens. Like, you don't know, like, anything can happen, but I'm just proud to be here around Taibhse, and hopefully we have a good disaster on and promote the film.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Well, John, I know hopefully you've done the difficult part of your weekend now. You've stood up on stage and addressed an entire crowd. You've seen your film screened in front of a pretty large audience out there. Now you can enjoy yourself, and if you're interested in those other projects that John mentioned, or when you can find today's film as it gets a wider release over in the future, follow the names. We will also, of course, share the notes on the podcast, and when we cover our news every week as well. Keep your eye out, and we will keep you posted on where you can catch it yourselves. Thank you so much, John. So here we are outside after our first film, Taibhse. I'm trying my best with the pronunciation. I hope I didn't butcher that, everybody, but if you're a Luddite English speaker like me, just The Ghost, an Irish language film. We've also just been lucky enough to catch a little chat with some of the cast and crew, but most important thing, Ben, what did you think of it?
Yeah, it was good. It was... I'm not familiar with the Irish language, but any subtitled movie, you got to lock in a different way, haven't you? It was great. A spooky ghost story. Obviously, a lot of trauma going on. It's like a period piece. as well, and some very intense lead performances. Great cinematography, great visuals, loads of crazy stuff happening in the final act. Met the cast, which was great. Didn't want to say to Tom at the time, but I've seen his ass. That was in the film.
Yeah. Might have been a stunt bum.
It could have been a stunt bum, yeah, but I didn't reckon it was. I could tell.
He had a firm handshake. He was a well-taken.
Yeah. It was. But yeah, overall, I would say I enjoyed it. I think it was good. As we said, there were definitely the Shining vibes. You know, looking after a house for some well-to-do couple and slowly going mad.
Drinking all the whiskey, they serves them right.
Drinking all their whiskey, cutting all their wood. They wanted that. Keep it up, ship shape. What do you know? It's the perils of not wanting to give anything away, but it's the perils of not returning your library book, isn't it?
Well, it is. I mean, there is a the exploration. I think of the roles, particularly the roles of that time, and some of the abuses and some of the torment that goes on in some of those situations, like away from the eyes of wider society as well. You know, a really powerful and quite a moving story, and I think you will have heard by now the cast and crew talking about how important it was for them while dealing with quite a triggering story, having a well-knit crew together to work on those things. I think we got the first hint, certainly I did, watching it when Misogyny's own Mr. Punch turned up in doll form.
Famous for misogyny and misogyny alone, Mr. Punch. Yes, that was the first film. Obviously, we're going to go into the second film now. There's a couple of films and Discovery screenings throughout the day that we have actually managed to catch already previously, so it's worth mentioning those briefly. The first of which was a film called Cinderella's Curse, wasn't it, Andy?
Yeah, Cinderella's Curse. We were lucky enough to, thank you to the marketing team, able to catch a screener of that one in advance of the festival, because we can't be in two places at once. So, I mean, Cinderella's Curse, as the name suggests, it is a retelling of the classic fairy story in a, I would say, combination. The idea of taking a traditional fairy story and being that dark twist, everyone will have blood and honey on their lips when that happens, but with a real Terrifier-ish level of gore and extreme violence stirred in as well, right?
Some of the effects were very extreme. In terms of story-wise, I found it a bit bad. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was a bit mean-spirited. That's what I meant. A bit mean-spirited. Especially considering the story of Cinderella. I know that, like, all the bloody sisters, whatever they're called. What are they called?
The Ugly Sisters.
The Ugly Sisters.
Probably can't call people ugly anymore, Ben. You cancel, sorry.
The stepsisters and the stepmother, like, are horrible, but this was, like, next level murder and stuff. It was just a bit gratuitous for my liking. And I like gratuitous at the best of times.
The stepsisters and stepmother in Cinderella's Curse, this horror reimagining of the story, make the bullies in a Stephen King film look well-adjusted. They are absolute horrors.
Some casual murder committed by these people, and then when Cinderella's had a bloody gutsful and turns on them and they start getting murdered, they're shocked. I say,
I didn't see this coming.
Also, there's like I guess Prince Charming in that, played by a man who thinks he's far more attractive than he is. So, no offense to that guy. Not that guy, the character. That's what I meant. But yeah, for me, I mean, it wasn't my cup of tea. But at the same time, you know, if you're into that sort of stuff, if Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey tickles your fancy, then get your fancy tickled by Cinderella's Curse, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there was some fun to be had with this one, and you're interested in seeing what a murderous version of Cinderella might do with a glass slipper, you shan't be disappointed, my friend.
Shan't. There's another one I wanted to mention, which is Children of the Wicker Man, which is showing on the Discovery screens later today, but I've seen it already. It's a documentary about the children of the director of The Wicker Man, Robin Hardy. I feel like I've just pulled that out of my ass, but I think that's correct. And basically how him making that film, it's a bit like a making of and a behind the scenes, and they find loads of old paperwork, like going, hang on a minute, did you pick up a bloody invoice for this thing? Guess what? It's in this film. It's like a little bit the most minute detail of stuff like that, but then it also goes into the trauma of like a breakdown of a family based on this film, I guess. And of course we get Mr. Christopher Lee turning up now and again to footage of him saying various things. And we're watching a documentary about Christopher Lee. I think that's tomorrow as well.
Yeah, the life and deaths of Christopher Lee is certainly, if not tomorrow, it's certainly Sunday. My brain is a soup already, Ben. But
your brain.
But if you're catching the maths of when we're doing this, that's right, everybody. 5 hours sleep. I think I'm doing all right.
I think I was on 4 because I couldn't drift off for a while. I think you were out like a light, weren't you?
shut down like a computer, mate. You too much screen time.
Exactly. So we are going to watch Bookworm next. And there have been rumors circulated. So there's a one Mr. Elijah Wood stars in this film. And
They're saying something surprising is happening. So
I feel like if Elijah Wood is there, if by some miracle we can get him on camera on Horror Hangout podcast, it may be a miracle. He'll be swamped. He'll be swarmed by vultures.
Good job with tough fucking customers, Ben. We'll get in there.
We're tough customers with sharp elbows, so let's get in there. But yeah, we'll catch up soon.
See you later, everybody. Bye for now. Hello again. We are fresh out of Short Film Showcase number 1 here at FrightFest, and we just so happen to have bumped into Colin G. Cooper, director, many credits. There's a long list of things you did on this film, of the short Bath Bomb. How are you doing?
I'm doing lovely, thank you.
You're always got the local dialect as well. So you mentioned as we're on the way out, you've shown this at a few festivals around the world now. What reaction are you seeing from audiences?
Audience reactions have been really good. We've actually got, we premiered at Panic Fest, and we won Best Short there, which is an audience-voted award. And then we just did Fantasia before this and won the Bronze Audience Award for Best Canadian Short. So we haven't won any jury awards, but audience awards we have. So I think audiences like it. There's always good laughs and gasps at the right points that I won't mention because they're spoilers. But
it's always, especially with a short, we have to be so careful of spoilers because there's less minutes of film to give things away. But one thing I really loved about Bath Bomb was that setting you put together. Like, do you want to do my bathroom? It needs redoing.
Yeah, thanks. We just had an awesome crew. That was originally just a 4-wall brick room. So even like the windows that are in there, we built those into it. We mostly chose the space because I was going for a specific kind of ambient tone of the dialogue and things to make it sound like hollow. And that used to be a bank vault. So it was like air in there, which gave an interesting effect to the dialogue. We only used dialogue as our audio. Everything else is Foley.
And then, again, we won't speak to specifics, but you had some fun making some props, I would imagine, as well.
So we got crazy lucky there. There's some key props that we can't mention because they're spoiler, but we worked with Walter Clausen Group, which they've done the special effects props for every Guillermo del Toro film since Pacific Rim. Did ours, and there was like a casting process for those props that I can't really talk about, but once you've seen what the props are, you'll think that's funny, but there's a casting process. But they're fun.
Until then, use your imagination. But obviously you've shown at a few festivals now. What's next for the movie?
So this is kind of a proof of concept for a feature, and kind of lucky coincidence by happenstance. In the process of this being made, the guy who was our executive producer put up most of the money for it. He also started getting into the feature film world, and his company is called Rabbit's Black, and the first film that they financed is Longlegs, which obviously be done okay, but kind of an unexpected hit for a lot of people. And the feature version of this is in funded development with that company. So as long as I don't, write a really terrible script, they'll most likely be on board for continuing into production with that project.
Based on what we've seen, I think the risks there are low. So we shall look forward to that. But I know you've come all this way, so you're attending the festival as well. You sat behind us in one of the movies. What have you been enjoying so far on your visit?
Sadly, this is only the second screening I've got to. But I mean, my favorite stuff I've seen versus the feature that we saw this morning was in this short block. There's actually a few of them that have played at a number of other festivals we've played at that unsurprisingly have I've seen at multiple festivals because they're quite strong. I thought in general it was a very strong block.
Yeah, it was a really good group today. Lots to talk about later when we review those in full. How about for the rest of the weekend? Is there anything you're desperate to get over and see if you can?
I really wanted to see The Substance, and I waited too late, and there's no it's sold out, and there's likely no seating left. But I will probably see it at Motel X.
We might be able to arrange something on that one. I have to go home before it plays.
Oh,
my train back is at 6 p.m.
I mean, I would love to if that was possible.
And you can take mine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Awesome. A deal is struck, everybody. But yeah, thank you so much, Colin. Enjoy the rest of your FrightFest, and I hope to see more from you soon. Come back and chat some more Giallo with us.
Yeah, I will, for sure.
Wonderful, thank you.
We're about halfway through day 2. We've seen some films. The last time you may have caught up with us, we were just about to go and watch Bookworm. Is that right?
It was, yeah. Yeah, it was, right, just before Bookworm. Should we get over...
Again, it's incredibly busy. We're in the middle of Leicester Square, of course, carnage. Bookworm was a very nice very nice family, mother and daughter drama. We're going to go see what? The Bunker. The Bunker. When's it showing?
It's tonight, 6:15.
Tonight at 6:15, Andy. Grab one for me because my hands are full.
22 minutes.
I shall.
Wait, in 22 minutes? Oh my God! The pressure! The pressure! Yeah. Terrified. But in a good way. Terrified in a good way.
It was. You have to see The Bunker then, 22 minutes?
We were going to go see Shelby Oaks, weren't we, with Mr. Chris Stuckman. And I think we want to try and get an interview of him afterwards. So let's see if that happens. Oh, yeah, of course, we went to see Bookworm. It wasn't Elijah Wood, though, was it?
It wasn't Elijah Wood. It was a video message from the director. Unfortunately, that had problems converting the video format, so the organizer managed to read
real-life horrors.
Real-life horrors admin.
Converting of video files and video types.
MPEG 4? Fuck's sake, mate.
MPEG 4, MOV, QuickTime. Bookworm was a very nice father and daughter comedy drama with some fantastic performances. Elijah Wood in the lead role and a young actress, I've forgotten her name, it's terrible.
I'll pull up, but she was incredible.
She was incredible. We're talking, it was like Hunt for the Wilder People vibes. The reason I say that is because it's set in New Zealand, has a lot of New Zealand stars, and has that very quintessential New Zealand style comedy, which was lovely. I enjoyed it.
Nell Fisher is her name, and she is excellent. I would be very surprised if we don't see her in a lot more. And I was talking to some folks outside afterwards. I think in our era growing up, and we've definitely said this on the podcast before, when you had a period where it was like, oh, this is a good child actor, and there was a qualifier there. She's just an excellent actor.
Exactly. It wasn't a horror film. It wasn't a horror film at all, but I think sometimes at FrightFest you get these kind of like genre films that are a little bit outside of the box, and that's what this was. But I really enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed Hunt for the Wilder People, which I am comparing it to. I feel like on a par.
Yeah, I had an amazing time. I texted my wife, texted good old Karen afterwards, and said, so far of the things I've seen here that I would recommend to you, this is the biggie. This is one that I'd be really excited to watch again, to show with a really broad crowd. This is one that, we have to be very careful, Ben, as horror fans. We're recommending things, is this going to be a bit much for him? This is one I think you could recommend to anyone. Still does have some scares and some tension in there, but just a delightful, really sharply written movie. I loved it.
Yeah, it was great. It was funny. It was heartfelt. It was delightful. I will also mention the film I just went to see, which is called Scarlet Blue, a French movie. That's a nice smile I just did. You did a smile of media.
Smile and nod of recognition.
Smile and nod of recognition. I saw it. Scarlet Blue, which was a French, kind of like a thriller with a lot of haunting visuals, a lot of symbolism, and a lot of nudity.
You were saying ever so sexy when you came out to me, right?
It was ever so sexy, almost too much in terms of sex-wise. Like where I'm thinking, I don't want people having sex this much at a drop of a hat. I don't think so. Some of the most loud and aggressive orgasms I've ever experienced, not personally, but on screen as well.
Well, I have to take your word for it, Ben. Would you recommend we seek that out? Would you recommend people look for it? Or what type of person would you suggest this for?
Somebody who maybe like Titan, but without the car sex.
Okay. So just people sex.
Just people sex. There was a bit of sex on a car, actually, now I think about it. So maybe if you do quite like car sex, but you like people sex more than car sex.
It's kind of like a missing link.
It's like a missing link, yeah.
I can't tell you about everything I've seen. I've just been at a short film screening. We've just met with Colin G. Cooper from Bath Bomb, but there was 9 other shorts in front of me as well there, all with things to recommend. It's going to take me some time to pin those things down and write out a little bit about them. I think one of the ones that struck me from the very beginning, there was one called Forever Yours, which was almost a romantic story to begin with. There's a little sting in the tail, though. Watch out.
Scorpion.
not Scorpion.
Not a
Spoilers,
literal skin in the tail.
But there was also some excellent dog acting in that one, which I will always heartily recommend. Another one called FOMO Armageddon, which is a Norwegian movie about a family on what is well noted to be the day the world ends, and the main character is balancing out the need or the expectation of being with his family and a desire to run to where his friends are going to be, and they've agreed to be somewhere together for the end of the world. So it's been an emotional time, Ben. There's also been some funnies. There's one called VHX, which is an animated short about VHS tapes and their lives, and then when someone starts taping horrible horror films over the family memories, making sort of zombie cassette tapes. A lot of fun. A big range. I always love going to one of these short film sets because in just the length of one movie, I've seen 10 shorts that I really enjoyed. A lot of them, as we heard from Colin, become concept pieces for longer films as well. So it's a great breeding ground of maybe some of the features we'll be seeing in the future. And the good thing about shorts is so many of them are just available on YouTube eventually. So if you have yourselves with a little bit of time and you want to seek things out, I always go looking for best horror shorts and see what I can find. It's a good way to get a watch in when you haven't got that much time.
Awesome. All sounds good. We're about to go in for Shelby Oaks. I think we've literally got to go in right now, otherwise we'll bloody miss it, mate.
1 minute, mate.
1 minute left to go. Let's just quickly run away. Oh, Jesus. Let's go. Everybody cross-head. We got 1 fucking minute to the next film, mate. Who the fuck do you think you are? Get in there. Shelby Oaks, get in there. Quick, go. When you least expect it, Aaron Truss will pop up. Goodbye. See you in a bit.
Hangout.
Hello, I'm here with Clinton Liberty mere minutes after the premiere of Touchdown in Discovery Screen 1. First of all, congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. That was awesome. It was my first time seeing it on the big screen and also my first time meeting the rest of the cast because we all filmed in isolation. And it was a really special experience and I'm so grateful for it. So, yeah.
Wow, amazing. So first time meeting a lot of the cast, first time seeing, is that your first time seeing that cut of the film as well?
No, I saw it on a smaller screen, my laptop, but this is the first time I've seen it with anyone else, an audience, and just to get a collective experience of what it's actually like on the big screen. So, and it's a different experience on the big screen as opposed to my laptop, but they're both good. They're both great.
Yeah, I imagine. So obviously it was shot in lockdown, and a lot of the themes are kind of based around lockdown and the COVID-19 pandemic as well. I mean, what was the challenge in terms of acting? So a lot of the scenes you were on your own, so you were reacting to people on screens and various things like that. What were the challenges of that?
Some of the challenges just included, being isolated, and sometimes the reactions weren't in real time. So that's where I had Josephine Rose, who guided me to kind of give her exactly what she wanted from the characters, and without Joe I would have just been blind. So I'm very grateful to have had Joe there, and she made the challenges seem easy, and without her it would have been really difficult.
And of course, in the finale of the film, we wouldn't spoil anything here. We don't do that.
So this happened.
This happened. But there's a lot of you running around and a completely abandoned London as well. Was that looked like it was fun, to be fair?
It was the best thing an actor could ever ask for because it looked like a giant set. I'd never seen London like that in my life. Bare, nobody, and I was just there. It looked like a big, massive set. And I was just a kid in a candy store, more accurately, a kid in a playground. And I just got to run, have fun, but I also had to be professional and serious. But it was just really cool. It was like I was in a dream. It didn't feel real because it was my first time seeing London like this. And I got to do my job in this, So, yeah, it's awesome.
Amazing. And how was the acting with things that weren't really there? The drones, obviously, the various other effects that were used as well. Was that also challenging?
I mean, for me, yes and no, because it's what I get to do for a living. It's my job, and I absolutely love it. When an actor is hired, you hire their imagination. So I just let my imagination rip with the guidance of Josephine Rose, So, no, it was fun. It was all fun. It was all amazing, yeah.
Amazing stuff. So look out for Clinton in Touchdown. And what are you working on next? Have you got any other major project lined up?
So, major project at the moment, House of the Dragon Season 2 is out, and I play Adam of Hull, one of the new dragon flyers, supporting the Queen, Rhaenyra. So if you're watching House of the Dragon Season 2 on HBO and you see me, say hi, I guess, to the screen, and make sure you catch touchdown as well. So
I'm assuming that like acting with drones is a lot less challenging than acting with a dragon, I guess.
the funny thing is, though, no, spoiler alert, I'm sorry, it's already out, but for House of the Dragon, a lot of some of the dragon sort of reference shots were drones and combined with like blue screens and blue suits. So no, it's very similar. It was very similar.
Amazing. Of course, we'll keep our audiences up to date when Touchdown will be available for wider audiences. But Clinton, congratulations, and thank you so much for taking the time. I appreciate it.
I'm here outside. We've just had Touchdown screening this morning. I'm here with many credits, writer, producer, and director, Josephine Rose. Josephine, thank you for spending a couple of minutes with us. Excited to see a premiere on a big screen?
Yeah, nervous. But no, it's really exciting, but also because we had the crew, not the crew, but also the cast together kind of for the first time, because we shot the whole thing in lockdown and no one had actually kind of been together. So for us all actually to be here at FrightFest to watch the film on the big screen, it's been a lovely experience.
And I loved it when we were watching some of the abandoned London scenes, seeing literally the streets just over the way from us here, completely abandoned.
It's bizarre. We were walking through them last night, actually, with Lucas, who did our VFX, and I suddenly realised where we were, but it was packed last night. And I just stopped. I was like, hang on a sec. And we sort of pointed up, and he suddenly went, oh, I put the fires in that building. So it's so surreal, going from literally no one in London to seeing the streets as they are now, which is as they should be, with everyone kind of back having fun. So it was a weird time.
And obviously you were filming not only in the challenges of a lockdown era filming, but you wanted to represent a global story around the world. How did you go about choosing the locations that you wanted to cover?
So for South Africa, I'd been doing a lot of work and had a couple of projects there, so I knew a few kind of key people who I could kind of call up and say, this is the plan, we want to shoot it all remotely. Can you, Jerry, the director of photography, and I shot it all sort of via Zoom, and then I knew some people there. For me also, politically, what was happening in Cape Town was very much what the story was about, showing sort of what authorities were doing, where they were pushing vulnerable people, so it kind of fit with the story, which was the same with Hong Kong. We had tried to shoot in China, but unsurprisingly, that proved rather difficult.
Not tricky.
Yeah, that was a little bit more challenging than we managed to pull off. And the US, again, I just thought it was a good part of the story to have the kind of most liberal, sort of kind of fortunate country in the world start to have these problems as well and see that disintegrate. So it was kind of a mixture of, I guess, the kind of political, social background of the countries, plus a little bit about who we knew there.
So, talking about, look at these, obviously there is a sci-fi element to it, but there is a political drama that you pulled out as well. Lovely, some moments from Downing Street you get as well, and they're filmed in the era when we were seeing those messages every day. Where do you think you'd go next? Are you going to stick with horror and sci-fi, or is political drama in your heart now?
I think for me, genre is always a Trojan horse. For me, it's about making something really commercial, really exciting, really fun, with a really broad appeal for audiences. But if you can seed into that something that makes us think, something makes us look at the world around us and question what we should be questioning, then for me that's kind of perfect. So I guess ideally, if I can carry on doing sci-fi with kind of, those political ideas within it, that would be perfect.
Wonderful. Well, you've done the hard bit now. You've seen the film with an audience. Is there any news? Where should people follow for news when they can see it, in broader and other screens around the world?
I do spam my social media with updates on the film, so just kind of keep a check-in on there. We've got a sales agent working on the distribution side at the moment, so hopefully we'll have news very soon.
We'll be sure to share that news as well. Thank you so much, Joanne. You can go and enjoy the rest of your weekend now, I imagine, a little bit more relaxed. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You never guess what? You're always bumping into people you recognise here at FrightFest, and it's Radi Nikolov. I cannot believe it. We saw each other from across the way, locked eyes, while I was holding the camera on the previous one.
And just pointed at each other. It was the Spider-Man meme.
It was the Spider-Man meme. It was. Great to see you. You arrived yesterday, is that right?
Yes, arrived yesterday from Bournemouth. I'm sticking around for the whole weekend, watching a us to do amazing films.
I should say, Screams by the Sea festival programmer as well. We've had him on the show before, a bonus episode talking about that event. And obviously that was before the event, wasn't it? So it was a great success, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, the festival was amazing. We nearly sold out, which was fantastic for a first year event. It was almost surprising to all of us. But the event was amazing. Everybody had a lot of fun. It was really useful. A lot of students came and found something really, really useful to take out of it to start their careers. And a lot of people that have done stuff found connections that can help them later. So it was great.
Amazing. It looked amazing. And, of course, next year's festival, you're already making the plans for that, aren't you? You're already getting films being submitted and everything like that. Is it shaping up nicely?
It's coming together really, really well. The submissions are open. Early bird finishes on the 9th of September. So there's still a chance for people to get in there. And then it's open until February, I believe, for submissions. But the movies are coming in. The short films are coming in. Features are coming in. The scripts are coming in as well because we're running the screenwriting competition again. So we're doing that again. We're giving out the same award, funded production deal for the winning script. It's coming together nicely. We're going to try to keep it same but slightly bigger.
Same but slightly bigger. That's the tagline. Like any good sequel, as he says. So, FrightFest, what have you managed to see so far? What has been your highlight? You've not seen much, but what have you enjoyed so far?
I really enjoyed Scarlet Blue, the French film yesterday. It's basically a movie about schizophrenia, and it's gorgeously shot, and there's so many metaphorical layers into this film that it hits you like a ton of bricks at the end of the film. Like credits roll, and you sit there and I need 10 minutes to think about this for a second before I structure my opinions, but it's really, really good. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, a very sexy film. I got a thought Titan vibes as well, a little bit. I feel like a lot of that was the neon lighting that kind of gave it those vibes.
It was very, very colorful and very, very saturated. It was just like the director said, like it's supposed to, like, it's not a movie about anything. It's a feeling. You gotta experience it, which could be a double-edged sword when people say that, really. But that really delivered something that you have to sit into. Do you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. And what are you looking forward to? What are you watching today? And what is on the agenda for you, Radi?
I'm really looking forward to Dead Mayo in this afternoon and Members Club tonight. The last movie of tonight, Members Club. And was it Kill Me Darling? The
Strange Darling.
Strange Darling. I'm really looking forward to that. That looks really, really good.
We're in for all of those. So we will be bringing you reviews for those films as well. Well, we might catch up with Radi again. Who knows? I'm sure we'll see you around at the festival. But yeah, great to see you, and thanks so much for taking the time to speak to us.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me, guys. You're absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
Hangout.
We're here again. We actually got a little bit of a break between films, Ben. Thanks to a few screeners that we were able to catch up on. So we're not running from pillar to bloody post.
Yeah. We have been running from pillar to post as well, haven't we? And a song's kicking off. Is it Van Halen? I think.
This is Alice Cooper's Poison.
It is, isn't it? It is Alice Cooper's Poison. I've been really enjoying the soundtrack to our interviews. I don't know how well the microphone's picking it up. When I interviewed the Touchdown cast just now, I was fascinated by it. We had Psycho playing in the background, and we had some Goblin. I was loving it. And now we've got Alice Cooper's Poison while we're talking.
You worried that it's going to cause copyright strikes on YouTube and you're going to have to filter that out?
Oh, no, definitely not. I'm just enjoying it. Anyway, I feel like music is very important, and having it as a soundtrack to our podcast is great. I love it. And I love Alice Cooper, star of John Carpenter's Prince of Darkness, of course.
There you go, horror relevant. So we've been seeing a lot. We've just got out of Touchdown. Shall we touch base on that one first, Ben? We've just done a couple of interviews with some of the cast and crew, but
yeah, well,
what did you think? That's the most important thing.
The last time we were talking to camera, we were just about to go on Shelby Oates.
Shall we slow you roll?
Well, let's slow you roll, Andy, but also we were saying, Chris Stutman, we won't be able to get him on an interview. He wasn't even bloody there. We received false information. Somebody said to us, Chris Stutman is here. Somebody also said to us, Chris Stutman's on the media wall. Then a video before the film played, and you know what? It said, he's not here, unfortunately.
His kids are poorly.
Oh yeah, well,
Get well soon,
get
everybody.
well soon. I'm not complaining about that. I'm just saying. I'm complaining about the false.
If you think Ben's angry about it, he's over it. All right.
So Shelby Oaks, should we talk about that very briefly?
Yeah, let's talk about Shelby Oaks first. Chris, in his video message, did ask that we didn't spoil anything because there's lots of surprises and secrets there. But I think what we can share is a setup as old as time, Ben. Not to say that it's hackneyed, to say that it is a classic. Some people who do some rogue filming, in this case for a YouTube series, have disappeared into the ether, and all that remains of them is some old footage.
What were they called? The Paranoid?
The Paranormal Paranoids.
That's right. Well remembered, Andy. Paranormal Paranoids. It starts off with like a mockumentary style. It's got a cold open of about 20 minutes, doesn't it? I always feel like when you get the title card appear like 20 minutes in, you know you're in for a treat. Usually reserved for like the big heavy hitters like Tarantino, for example. But Chris Stuckman's gone straight in there.
Straight in there with his first feature, but also, you're talking about like things that are welcome in a cold open and 20 minutes in. 3 words, I think immediately got my expectation. This one, Mike Flanagan presents.
Mike Flanagan bloody presents, doesn't he? Yeah, he does. And he did present it. And I think overall, it was maybe a film that I wasn't entirely sure about for a while, but I feel like it's got a strong enough finale. And also, it looks great. For a debut feature, like, it looks like amazing. Like, it feels like it's got quite a lot of budget to it. And I would say it's overall success. I was pleasantly surprised.
I would say, for me, I kind of was led to believe, because we do have it is a traditional narrative at certain points as well. I'm not sure if I was maybe geared up for something that was pure mockumentary the whole way through, and I think that would have also worked effectively. Not to say that this one didn't, but I liked some of the lore, I liked some of the mythology, and some cracking performances in that one as well. But I shall say no more for want of spoilers until more people have got a chance to see it. It's not out until next year, so it's going to be a while before people get to see this.
Wow, don't spoil it. I won't say another word. And then after that, in the evening, you went to see The Mutilator 2. You got yourself a signed poster, which of course is lovely. I
think classic Mutilator 1, the original period slasher from the decade of slashers. Because I'd not actually seen it though, but the creative team came back together all these years later to follow up with a sequel.
So you don't feel like it's a situation where you have to watch Mutilator 2 to understand the intense, complicated mythology of Mutilator 2.
I don't think you do, Ben. I think you could.
Mutilator 2 twice.
That's okay. I was going to let it go, but thank you for following yourself up on it. I don't think it's necessary that you watch the old one, although I am kind of inspired. I am going to try and seek out the original Mutilator now. It is very, very light-hearted, very, very knowing. It exists in a world where Mutilator 1 was a film, and Mutilator 2 is being made years later as a legacy sequel. It's a lot of very, very silly fun. Maybe there are certain things that I would have got in the early section if I had known a bit of it, a bit of the history of the characters and what their background was. But largely, it is just a lot of silly fun. And then the last 20 minutes, which is just absolutely rife with creative and over-the-top practical effect kills in a very Troma-y style. It is a bit of a roller coaster towards the end there, and it certainly looks like they had a lot of fun making it, and leans very heavily into the comedic elements as well.
Wow. I mean, kind of good. I didn't get to see it, but I will seek out Mutilator and the Mutilator 2. The watch list is growing exponentially, and the wash list is also growing exponentially.
Because we're away from home, can't be doing laundry every day.
Because we're away from home, can't be doing laundry every day, despite the fact there's a washing machine in your bedroom. My bedroom.
Yeah, that's true. We could. I'll stick a wash on this evening, folks.
I brought enough pairs of pants to cover me for 5 days. It's fine. Okay, and then this morning we
unslow our roll now and go back to touchdown.
Unslow your bloody roll, Andy Conduit-Turner. We're actually stood in front of the lineup for Discovery Screens 1 and 2 here in Odeon. How would you describe this? Odeon Lux rather than
the Odeon Deluxe, where the big bold screens are down in the pits of oblivion, 6 floors underground.
So 6 floors underground, and we were told that 6 floors underground is basically halfway to hell, which means hell, and you said this, not me, the hell is 12 floors down. So we're close. Well, we're not down there now. How does it feel watching a film in like the belly of the beast?
Oddly enough, the aircon in that one is slightly more effective than up in that top one. I feel much cooler. Sir Ian McKellen would say it's quite cool.
Not only is it cooler in there, but like the seats, my main screen seat hasn't got leg reclining stuff going on. This one has. I'm loving it. So yeah, we watched Touchdown, which obviously we've already spoken to a star of Touchdown and the director of Touchdown. It was kind of like a film inspired by COVID, because they kind of gone and made a film which is talking about some sort of pandemic, but a pandemic of alien invasion. That's not a spoiler, is it?
No, I think it's from the opening. Right.
A pandemic of alien invasion. You don't really see much in terms of alien invasion. It's also about the police state, the government sort of sending out these drones which are supposed to stop people. I kind of thought maybe that would have been more of a key component of the film. I thought it was all about that, like killer drones trying to kill people and stuff like that. But I think it lent very heavily into the people being isolated during COVID, and communication between friends, and how misinformation and conspiracy theories as well can kind of spread and become rife in that time, and people can maybe not follow the rules simply because they're fucking hard. They're hard, and they're absolutely rogue.
I mean, for me, it's a big challenge in that the governments of the world have a poor grasp of marketing. But smiley faces on those trends wouldn't have been quite as oppressive.
See something like that. I think something like a little design touch like that, I think would have made it a little bit more exciting. But yeah, I think overall it's a well-made film. Everyone's well put together. Everyone's good looking. Every set, like where everyone's living, is like a show home pretty much. So maybe part of that made it feel like it wasn't in the gritty real world. It felt very shiny.
Maybe all these characters just doing very well for themselves.
Yeah, but you can do very well for yourself and like have a lovely tidy up every time you get on a Zoom call. I don't think so. There's going to be stuff strewn about. But yeah, apart from that, I think it made the most of having these shots of like an empty London as well, including just like Chinatown around the corner from us.
Yeah, it was quite surreal to see
the place that we've pointed out more than once, Gerard's restaurant.
I wonder if you looked at it, you might have even seen excellent hairdresser on that street. The first cut is the Deepest.
Yeah, probably. So there are a few more films on the Discovery screens that we've seen already that we didn't attend the screeners of today. One of which is, let's move over this way slightly.
Move over, you can look. If you observe just here,
The Lonely Man with the Ghost Machine, which you saw, Andy.
Yeah, I saw The Lonely Man with the Ghost Machine. It actually pairs very nicely with the Touchdown. It is about a man who is isolated. He is isolated, not because of government oppression or a fear of a pandemic, but because horrible monsters outside will eat you if he's alone. And he is a guy that he's in a log cabin by himself. He was previously there with his partner, but she has been slurped off, for want of a better term, by a monster. And
slurped off.
And it's a combination of him having conversations with his deceased partner with a ghost machine he has made. He's trying to find a way to bring her back, and a mysterious voice outside that tries to tempt him to come out, offering to be his friend. It's got some psychology in it. It is also like, I feel like I painted a very dour and dark picture of it. While there is a lot of psychology to it, there is, there are light-hearted parts of the story as well. It is a lot about conversations and dialogues between two characters at the same time as he follows through this experiment, and we try to understand how he found himself in this situation and what happened. Again, a small budget movie. The writer and director of that film, and also the star, hosted the quiz here at FrightFest this year as well. It's a shame we didn't get to catch him, but it's the day before we arrived. An interesting piece, I think, maybe slightly limited by its budget for the creature effect you can have, but it is very good, very well vocally performed for the creature is, and a great sci-fi angle, both the ghost machine itself and the nature of the creature, which terrorized the world. There's some interesting concepts in there.
So Lonely Man with the Ghost Machine, which you've seen. And next one, so Scopophobia, which is showing today at 1 p.m. in the Discovery screen. One, I've seen it, yes. Similar to another film we saw called Protein. Again, we've not mentioned that one, but we will. A Welsh movie. It's kind of like a bit like I Know What You Did Last Summer, where an event has happened, and then years and years later, coming back to this small town in Wales, There's maybe a slasher knocking about, killing people for their involvement in not a murder, but like a crime which had very intense ramifications on the lives of some people who perhaps are on the breadline as well. So it was, again, a film where the humor was very natural and it made a lot of sense to me. Like I felt like with Protein as well, and I keep saying that, but that was one thing that I really gravitated towards, was the humor, was the Welsh humor in that. I think that was really effective. It kind of elevated the film beyond what perhaps it was at its bare bones level.
Are you saying perhaps it's, I mean, we can pivot into Protein if you like there. You're saying that actually rather than being written as purely jokes, it's more that I think the dialogue is quite sharp and quite humorous just in its general, the way the conversations work. You can certainly hear dialogue which is very there to deliver exposition, is there to drive the story forward, or you can have things where just people feel like, oh, you guys naturally talk to each other.
Yeah, and it definitely felt like that. And I think sometimes when the dialogue isn't as natural and good as that, like, it can really take you out of the film. You can really be like, I don't believe in these characters. I don't believe in their relationships. Or a scopophobia. Scopophobia, I think, is the phobia of like someone staring at you. So I don't know if you've ever had. Have you experienced that before?
Oh, it's
just like that.
I'm staring at him if anyone's on you.
When you stare at someone, do you look at one eye or both?
I use one of my eyes to look at each of them.
Okay, interesting. I thought so. Yeah, I get that. If I'm stressed anyway, usually if I'm parallel parking is when I start getting scopophobia. When I get like, if you bloody try and watch me parallel park, I'm going to fuck it up.
That's why we always park really far away from everything.
Yeah, I usually do. But yeah, in terms of the slasher elements, and there's like a bit of a murder mystery as well that sort of unravels as time goes on. But yeah, I thought it was well made. And again, like, I feel like sometimes with a slasher movie, if you said to me slasher movie in middle America, slasher movie in a big city in America, I might be like, well, I might have seen it before. But you say to me slasher movie set in like a Welsh town, I might be like, oh,
it's hot and fresh. You want to get in on that?
It's hot and fresh. I'm Welsh. And yeah, in terms of Protein, which is showing later today at 6 p.m, we've both seen that, and I've described it as like dead man's shoes in Wales.
Yeah, I think that's a fair bit of shorthand to share it, I think. But for me, I think this is one of the films that it's a lot like some of the others that we have to discuss, and we'll perhaps talk about them later. Films like Derelict as well. I can see some of the tone of
Derelict
movies that are coming out that are really tied into, I think, maybe the political and social climate that they've been made in. I think I joked with you that UK horror cinema, to a degree, is entering its misery porn era. So, you know, there's a
team of bath bomb just walked past before you think we're being rude.
Give a little wave as we're talking about misery. Yeah, so like it is, I think, really sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? It is a symptom, I think, of what society has been like recently, because there are a lot of people who are struggling. You are seeing these things about depraved and declining areas, sort of urban-based crime. What we are getting from Protein, I think, yes, there are horrific elements. There are murders going on, as I think is fairly well established in the film's trailer. It is a traumatized soldier returning from war who is also a bodybuilder. Tell you what, he needs to find a way to get his protein in, and he finds himself in a place with a lot of unpleasant characters who, Little Shop of Horrors style, maybe you're not too worried if they get eaten by folks.
Yeah, and I think that element of it, I think maybe they needed to lean a bit heavily into like the over-the-top element of it, because it still felt very gritty and realistic, but I feel like in terms of a lead character, you know, it sounds insane going, we've got a bodybuilder here who's getting his protein by eating people. Like, that paints a picture of this overblown, over-the-top sort of scenario. I felt like the lead performance perhaps was a bit understated and quiet. And I guess I understand that's what they were going for, but I think if it just ramped it up a tiny little bit, I'm not talking like B-movie style, I'm talking if we just ramped it up a little bit, ramped up the personality of that character, ramped up the absurdity of the situation, it probably would have been a little bit more enjoyable. It ended up kind of just petering out as a bit of a, almost like crime drama, didn't it?
I liked the police procedural element of it, though, the dynamic between the two police characters.
Oh, yeah, of course. And I recognise the guy, one of the police officers. I feel like he's like a soap actor or something like that. I recognised him. But yeah, the dynamic between those two, the way their relationship developed as well, and you kind of start off feeling one way about one character and then a different way in the end.
They evolve as they go through, certainly. We learn a bit more about them. There's definitely more to every character that you meet in this one.
I also feel like, and this is probably, again, I don't want to spoil anything, there's a character who gets introduced and probably like as the main bad guy. Oh, this guy's an absolute douchebag. First person to get eaten.
Yeah, absolute belter, isn't he?
But keep him. Do you know what I mean? Like, as soon as he's been eaten, it's like, right, so now where do we go from here?
Think of that, though. Serves him right. If you're the, tall poppy syndrome, mate, if you stick above the crowd, you're the one that's getting chopped off first.
I guess so, but at the same time, I liked to hate him, so I wanted to see him immediately getting his just desserts, which is...
Even though someone eats him for mains.
Even though someone eats him for mains, yeah. But okay, that's protein. And then I don't know if there's anything else we need to discuss on this wall. Oh, 7 Keys.
On this wall.
7 Keys is shown today at 8:35. Again, this is another film we've seen.
Like an erotic thriller, would you say?
Erotic thriller where a couple are both stood up on blind dates and they decide to, for some reason, go, you've lived loads of places, have you? Have you still got all the keys to those houses?
Places, in fact, yes.
I've lived 7 places. Let's go to those places and hang around, drink all their milk, eat all their din-dins, and shag on their bed and have a bath.
Yeah, I think there is a nice metaphor for this, like different stages of a potentially troubled relationship, and the stages of those relationships, each represented by each of those places they go to. Like, we see an element where they go to that first house, and it is very like explosive and passionate, and then the next one, maybe she wants to slow down a little bit, and she wants them to have a meal together and discuss things, and seeing that amplified. Some of these stories, which might be delivered over the course of months or years when these relationships play out, taking place in the space of a day or two, and some of the sinister designs that are going behind it as it begins to unpick. It's an interesting thriller.
Yeah, interesting, definitely. And I didn't think of it like that, the way you described the different stages of a relationship. I think if that's the case, the trailer for it was playing over there. Interesting. Can you believe it? We've had a few moments of intense coincidence some way so far.
Yeah, a few moments.
I've enjoyed it. Okay, moving on. Let's go this way. Let's go this way. Board number 2. We're not going to talk about loads on here, but I think that in some of the things that we have seen, Video Vision, which is showing today at 8:25 p.m. on Discovery Screen 2. This is kind of like a... This is set in the 80s. No, this is set in modern times when people love bloody videos. They're like the classic retro format.
Yeah, it's set in like a video transfer and restoration place, right, where people specialize in converting one format to another. And it looks like, well, certainly my pickup of this one, I'm not an academic in these things, Ben, but it sort of picks up with the whole transitioning between formats is very heavily used for a metaphor in people transitioning physically and the physical changes that people can undertake. The relationship of their main character who meets a transsexual man and gets into a relationship with them, and the discussions that they have around the changes. Funnily enough, the trailer for that is now running right next to me.
Look at that. Video Vision. Can you believe it? Look at that. There's every film with channel. I mean, no, it's because they're showing in these cinemas, but still, it makes sense. Yeah,
there's a lot of discussion on those topics and drawing those parallels between the transition of video formats and that person transitioning their own physical form. Then there is a haunting element to it as well. We have a cursed video machine, the worst kind of video machine to get brought into your shop, which begins to affect our main character.
Sorry.
Yeah, and, we have a sinister, malevolent force like embedded in the video machine as well.
Some body horror, there's some moments like that. I'll go back. I completely understand what you say about the transitioning of a person in terms of their gender and everything like that. However, we're getting given. We're literally, that's the film we're talking about, and we're getting given a flyer for Video Vision. And that moment, come on, watch this film that you're talking about right now. I'm glad he's walked away, because I was just about to say, I feel like I understand the sentiment of it, but I feel like the writer of this film wasn't great. I feel like the two characters that we're supposed to kind of like root for and kind of enjoy their romance, I just don't know. I feel like it was a story of gender dysmorphia and how that plays in the real world and not the real world, maybe written from a standpoint of not knowing all that much about it. Again, I might be just assuming here, and I apologize for that. But I don't know. It felt like the dialogue of these characters were how people speak that, like, boomers think certain generations talk, you know? Because they were like, some of the things they were saying were like making me want to throw up in my mouth. And I am as liberal as they come, Andy. I'm as liberal as they come. And I was going, oh, come on. Like, just the way they were talking just felt so disingenuous that I was not on board for it at all. I feel like at a certain point, I am actually starting to quite dislike the main character. And I don't think that was the intention of anyone, was it?
I can see how it can be challenging at some points, because I guess as they begin to butt heads in their relationship, there are certain elements where I think our lead character who works in the video repair shop, I think, says things that are directly confronting or challenging to the views and the wants of their, like, trans partner that they've just get into a relationship with. And I think they are maybe positioned to be quite confronting or quite to cause aggravation between them.
Yeah.
I'm not expert enough in these things to know what I'm talking about in this stuff, but what I will say on the film that I can tell you about is I like some of the body horror effects. I like when we get, I don't want to spoil some of the visuals there, but you get kind of a merging between the biological and the technical in some of these areas, and especially that analog technology, the video and the magnetic tape, reminded me of a film we saw at FrightFest Glasgow, Custom.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, just to elaborate on that, the problems I had weren't with the thematic stuff of the film.
The
problems I had was the handling of it and the dialogue and the way these characters interact with each other. As I said about it, this film would give a boomer an aneurysm. They'd Facebook meme it all the way to Kingdom Come.
I mean, not all boomers, obviously.
Oh yeah, not all boomers, but some. A generalization of boomers, I will say. Is that because you're a boomer?
No, I'm only 41.
Oh yeah, I thought so. You just didn't have much. Oh, I'm
an elder millennial, Ben, and I'll thank you to remember that.
I got to be the same, right? Elder millennial.
Are you looking TikTok over here?
And the other film I wanted to mention is The Monster Beneath Us, which is kind of like a period drama, sort of like Woman in Black type scenario. Can you give us a brief synopsis of that, if you remember?
Yes, it was a few weeks ago.
You remember?
I got around to watching that one, but there's a lot about class and expectation in this one as well. A period piece, I think the role of women and a woman who is trying to raise a family without a husband present as well, particularly during the period. It's an incredibly challenging thing from the expectations that fall upon her from the rest of society, even though someone who is in a higher class of society as well. Those expectations are on the judgments that are cast upon her as well. I think deliberately, trying to buck the trend of, tell you what, these olden days things, everyone's white in it, aren't they? They've got like a deliberately diverse cast, which I think is really, really nice to see. In this one, it actually shows a little bit more representation of the talent we have in the country. But we have a lot of haunting movies at the moment. So I think it can be very difficult to stand out in that space. With a sinister force in the basement, and of course we do fall a little bit into that trap of, what's this? There's an invisible ghost. It's bloody Toby all over again. Somehow demons.
Tobey Maguire?
No, not Toby Maguire. Toby the horrible.
I know exactly what you mean. Sorry,
Toby the horrible ghostman from Paranormal Activity. What we do
Fritos.
They're dead good at making friends with kids, and I don't know what they've got in common with them.
Yeah, it's dodgy, isn't it? It's dodgy. Like we were walking around yesterday and we saw a man dressed as Mickey Mouse approaching kids, and I said, What have you got in common with those kids?
I wouldn't want to beat him if I was a kid, mate. No,
I would not want to beat him. It was a terrifying looking Mickey Mouse as well. So the monster beneath us, I keep trying to say the monster among us because I'm an idiot. But I found this, again, everything you said, great. I understand the sentiment as well. This was probably one of the ones I found it most difficult to vibe with. I really struggled for it to keep my attention.
You weren't alive in the Victorian era.
Because I wasn't alive in the Victorian era and I had nothing that I could feel in common with this stuff. And I've never known a ghost, ever. So I was like, this is irrelevant to me. That's not true, of course. I'm just being silly. I did know a ghost. His name was Toby as well. Free Toast.
Such good friends with him.
Ever such good friends with him, yeah. So this one, unfortunately, I felt fell into the generic territory, unfortunately. But, there we go.
Yeah, I think, really challenging from a story perspective, and like maybe I would need to look at it again to understand what they were truly getting at. Is it about the engagement with the ghost, talking about almost embracing a lifestyle that is thought of as deviant in those times? But it is, it was still an interesting film if you're in for a haunting movie, if you like a mystery, if you like a film like the others, if you're watching yourselves Glutton of Bridgerton, but have thought to yourself, I wish there was some more bloody ghosties.
Yeah, it was a bit like that.
And this is your time.
We've been being a bit silly and making our own FrightFest titles up. So The Monster Beneath Us, I think, is a great example of this. Of course, this isn't all of the films. We're doing not all Boomers. We're also doing not all FrightFest movies, of course, because there's amazing stuff being shown all the time. But there is a very specific and very cliched way that some FrightFest titles have. I Will Never Leave You Alone is another great example. It'll be things like Never Leave You Alone, Don't Go Outside, Let Me In, Will You?
Tickle Your Fancy.
What did we say yesterday? Mother May I? And then we went on to just naming metalcore bands from 2000s.
Muppets Christmas Carol.
Monster May I? Silly stuff like that. Again, we're not trying to be mean.
No, if anything, like, you just have to find ways to relate to these things, then, don't you? And again, now the trailer for The Monster Beneath Us is now playing right behind us.
Look at that. Moments of synchronicity. Is that the correct word?
Yeah. I reckon someone's following us through and putting these on as we go. But
you've been helping me with words as well. I feel like doing a lot of talking, doing a lot of meeting people, my brain starts to just slowly shut down. So Andy's been working as my human thesaurus when all right, Brucey. You good game. Rest he's not dead? Yeah, he is. Shit. I forgot for a second. Sorry, I forgot for a second. He's still doing Strictly, isn't he? He's still doing bloody Strictly. I think that's it for now. So later on this afternoon, this is kind of a preview for day 3 as well, I guess. We are going to be watching a few things. Dead Male is one in the main screen.
Yep.
I think Traumatica is in the main screen today as well. And the Members Club later tonight. I mean, hoping we get to see as much as possible.
You realise that we haven't talked about... We didn't talk about... Was the last film of the evening while I was at Mutilator Hauntology? Or did you want to save that for when you...
No. Let's talk about Hauntology. You've seen Hauntology. You and Emma Cownley have already discussed it.
Put a pin in it for now. If we can find Emma, we'll get to come and do a review of it because it was our favourite film of the festival so far.
Oh my God, yes, it was. There we go. So Emma Cownley, former guest of the show, she was on the Deathgasm episode. She's wearing a Deathgasm t-shirt today. Hopefully we can find her again. This isn't like us saying we're going to see Elijah Wood, we're going to see Chris Stutman, we're going to see Emma Cownley.
This person with our own eyes. Friend of the show, absolute provider of charisma that we've come to rely on over the years. So
we met her last year.
We've been relying on her since before we knew her, Ben. So we'll get Emma back on if we can. We've also just seen, just before we started recording here, an absolute smorgasbord of friends from FrightFest came past. Old Andy Edwards, friend of the show, came past. Punch director. Errol came past as well.
He came past and punched the director. So
he's the punching director. We've seen lots of people we want to still catch up on, and we have, because of the miracle of screeners, hopefully we'll get a chance to grab a few of them today.
Yeah.
Maybe have another fish ice cream.
A fish ice cream. It's an ice cream in a fish-shaped cone. It's not a fish-flavoured ice cream.
We'll do some videos of that later. But I'll tell you what, Ben, the last thing we want to cover on, if you're watching the video, you can see we have lovely horror hangout branded new merch. Like a lovely...
Come on.
Bring the mic down while you pose. I'm wearing the pink. Ben is wearing the green today. They're quite lovely, aren't they, Ben?
Yeah, can't believe it. Give it a twirl.
I mean, I can give it a twirl. Yeah, I can't twirl. I'm holding this.
I give it a twirl, but guess what? There's nothing on the back. There's nothing on the back. You can.
All right, shan't even.
Shannon can.
So, these are the first prints of this right now. But tell you what, if you've got an interest, everybody, let us know. Ben will get them on a merch store.
Yeah, of course. Well, I think I did say that. I think we'll make them available because they've come out very nicely, and we've got a lot of nice videos on there.
You can't beat, when you get in a t-shirt, the big worry is it's going to be those plasticky prints that make you sweat like an absolute wrong'un.
Yeah.
Not these, though. Very nice.
Very, very nice. Okay, we will catch up with you very soon after some more screenings, and with some more interviews. So thanks for listening. I hope you're enjoying it so far.
Stay tuned for more, everybody. Bye for now.
Hangout.
Hello, I'm here with Emma Cownley, friend of the show, former guest. She joined us for the Deathgasm episode a while ago, and look what she's wearing.
You have to represent your faves, don't you, at FrightFest?
You really, really do. So you're here at FrightFest, having fun, living it up, seeing some films, having a chin wag with me and Andy, which is all good. I'm sure, basically.
Why I came. I thought you're going to be here, worth the ticket price. That in of itself.
The films, in fact, are getting in the way.
That's just a bonus.
Yeah, it is a bonus. So, what have you seen so far? You watched a film called Delirium this morning, is that correct?
I did, yes. Horribly depressing in a way, but would watch again. And that is really saying something, because I see a lot of films here that I really like, but then I'm like, I'm glad I saw it, probably wouldn't watch it again. Delirium, would watch again. It's one of those ones that you bring out of your back pocket to, intrigue a friend, and then...
Bam!
Yeah.
Misery.
Him with the old 1-2 at the end, and then they think you're really cultured, because also it's subtitled as well. It's Icelandic.
Doubling up on the making your friends.
You look cultured, but also you're into really deep narratives. But at the end of the day, it is just an all-round good horror film as well. So.
Yeah, and that's all we want. All of us want our friends to believe that. When at the end of the day, all we want to do is watch Shrek 2.
Well, I mean, that's not for me personally. I'm a Mary-Kate and Ashley direct-to-video film kind of a girl.
I see what you mean. Have you got a favourite, Mary, Kate, or Ashley?
I do. It's New York Minute. It's really good. It's such a good film.
I feel like I know what that is. Yeah. What's that about?
Well, it's a bit of a convoluted plot of we've got to get here to get this, to go there, to do that. You know, that it's every plot of every film they've ever done, but this time it's in New York.
It's basically Tenet, but we're starring Mary Kay and Ashley.
Essentially.
That's pretty much it, isn't it? And last night you did see Hauntology as well. Well, when we caught on with you earlier, you even said was your favourite of the festival so far. And I mean, it's only day 2 for you, right? But still. What was that like?
I knew I was going to like it before I went in. So...
Why?
When you have that thing, though, there's a massive thing that you're going to be disappointed, but it didn't disappoint. I love a horror anthology, but the nice thing was the wraparound narrative, which is about kind of family ties, and it was all very rooted in women family ties. So it passed the Bechdel test, which is always a pleasant surprise, isn't it? And also it was a lot of queer stories, but the stories weren't necessarily oh, they're queer, this is part of the plot. It's just they happen to be, gay or trans or whatever. And lots of witchcraft, and I'm always here for witchcraft. I just can't say enough good things about it, to be honest. I loved it. So far, it's my highlight.
Amazing. Sounds great. And we're going to watch Dead Mail next. We're all getting together to watch that. Not sitting together, unfortunately. That's unfortunate, though, isn't it?
Yeah. I would have liked to have been in a horror hangout sandwich.
A horror hangout sandwich? Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you'd enjoy that. We'd be like Ryvita.
Actually, it sounds like you've got quite shit seats compared to where I am. So I'm going to stay where I'm at.
I mean, it's kind of true.
I'm situated in the middle with one of those nice chairs with legroom.
Have you got a little mini table as well?
No, I don't.
I was going to say, haha, but we haven't either, so...
You've not even got any legroom, have you?
We've got no legroom now. We're literally knees to our chins.
Well, I mean, like a clown car situation.
Exactly like that, yeah. But of course, if we get a chance to catch up with Emma again at some point after we've seen some of those films, of course we will. But for now, thank you so much for joining us. A pleasure to see you.
It's a pleasure to see me as well.
Everyone agrees. Goodbye.
Hangout.
Hello and good evening. We are here on the evening portion. The sun is beginning to go down here in London on Saturday. Hasn't it gone quick now? Our third day at FrightFest.
It's gone incredibly fast. And I know soon it'll be all over and we'll be at home thinking about all the films we could be enjoying, but no, we're just at home staring at the ceiling. Staring at the walls. No films at home. I'm joking. I'm joking, of course. But yeah, it's been fun.
But we have another couple of films to cover as we have a little break before we go into our final, well, possibly final. Maybe there's another couple though. Movie of the evening. I want to touch first on the movie that kicked things off on the main screen today. It was called Survive, which we've both seen. What do you make of that? Tell me what do you think the story was, Ben?
The crux of it is there's a family. It's French language, isn't it?
A bit,
yeah, a bit of French language, a bit of English language. It's a story about a family on a boat celebrating someone's birthday. Then there is a storm. Is it storm or is it meteors? Storm.
Just all sorts of nonsense. There is meteors, there's storms.
Yeah.
Everyone feels a bit magnetic-y and sick.
But it's not an X-Men origin story. What happens after that?
So what happens is, due to a catastrophic event that did happen in Marvel's Ultimate Comic line, the poles of the Earth have been shifted, and then, for reasons I'm not much of a scienceman to understand about that, all the water goes away. The sea bottoms out, gone. They wake up in the morning and they're on the seabed.
Yeah, confusing. And then there's a guy who's like a murderer guy roaming around with his dog, stabbing people.
And man that goes completely insane the second the sea goes down.
Yeah, a load of killer crabs and stuff. That's one thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I think when it first started, I get the impression that it was going to be a very, very serious survival movie, a bit like the ones we've seen like Up in the Tower or Down in the Sea recently in recent FrightFest years. And you're presented with like quite a gritty survival story, but then we get some silliness and some fun to come into it as well. I really enjoyed this one. How about you?
Yeah, I thought it was good. I enjoyed it. And I think that's screening tonight. Is that right? Screening tonight or screened already?
It's screened earlier today. Well, we were in Touchdown. We were lucky enough to catch the screener for that. Right. So thanks, marketing peeps. But it was on this morning. I think we kicked off the day over in the main screen.
And after that, so after we were speaking to Emma earlier, we jumped into our screening of Dead Male. I didn't really know anything about this going into it. Mark Kermode, my mate, got a little photo of him, of course, because I'm that kind of guy. He did the intro. He was sort of bigging up this film. I didn't really know what to expect. It is a very, very odd film, but I think a very cool film. And I might say it's one of my favorites of the festival so far. If I can go as far to say Bookworm was up there, if I can cast that aside, simply because you wouldn't call it a horror film, I think Dead Male, also probably not traditionally a horror film, but had more horror elements. It focuses on sort of one character, then about a third of the way through it focuses on another, then towards the end it focuses on another pair of characters, so it really is all over the place. But yeah, the score was really fascinating. It was some really great performances, quite an understated, measured, slow film, but not in a boring way. In a way that kept you on the edge of your seat. And if you're into synthesizers in any way, you're going to love it, because there's loads of synthesizer. It's set in the 80s as well, isn't it?
Yes.
Synthy score, but also synthesizer are big in the plot. They're a very key part to the plot.
Yeah, a key part of the story. And what I really liked about this one is, yes, it was not police procedural, but there was that investigation, and I really felt that we were taken along on that investigation in a way that we weren't with Longlegs this year.
After watching this and Shelby Oaks, it makes me think, bloody hell, the police can't be asked.
Yeah, they're not getting a good representation of the old police in this week's films.
They're being outdone by amateur sleuths, amateur private investigators. It's not good. But yeah, Dead Male, I would recommend it. Some of the central performances are great. Some great human stories, and also I was getting like ASMR vibes a bit when they were doing some of there was lots of very specific things happening with all the post office. If you like going to the post office, there's some very key things set at the
you
post
like
office.
stamps getting licked, you like letters getting closed, things going on little scales.
And what I really enjoyed about this film, without spoiling anything, is that when a particular big plot hole suddenly appears, I was like, oh, I don't really like that.
You leaned over and everything.
I leaned over and said, Andy, why would this happen if this has happened? And you never guess what?
Plugged it up, didn't they?
That plot hole got plugged up nicely. So I'm glad when films do that, it really shows that care and attention has been taken. And there's some great bits where the point of view from certain sequences from earlier in the film switch up later in the film, and it's great. Like, I really like that. I kept thinking, wow, that's a great. It gives you so much more about the story and the characters when the point of view switches up like that. It really does change it up. So yeah, Dead Male was great. I enjoyed it.
I had to check out something like, I think, a really great central performance as our villainous lead, I would say, John Fleck. Look at this list here. So, Falling Down, Velvet Buzzsaw, previous podcast episode. The Naked Gun 2.5, naturally. Waterworld. Howard the Duck. And now, Dead Mail. One to check out.
No, Dead Mail.
We've got a few more films to check out today, but it was also a little bit of a special event. They've had our friend Stu over in the channel StuTube talk about our Last Voyage of Demeter has kind of been hard to catch in UK territories because of some rights issues. But there was a screening of this one. We weren't there ourselves, but Emma had gone along. It was the first time she'd seen it. She seemed to react positively to it. What are your memories of Last Voyage of the Demeter, Ben?
I liked it. I think the way I described it before was it was like Alien on a ship. You know, you've got a creature of unknowable forces picking people off one by one. And I remember quite liking it. It didn't change my life, but I quite liked it. Emma did also sit next to Dracula as well, right, in the screening.
She was next to a Dracula in the film, so thank goodness it's an overcast day.
Thoughts and prayers for that. I think if there's a way for it to get distribution or to get picked up streaming somewhere, definitely check it out. I think it's got a bit of a bad rap. I think a lot of people said it was quite CGI heavy. I don't think it's the worst CGI in the world. It's not like I'm looking at it, I'm completely taken out of the film. And I've got to the point where anything Dracula related, I will watch. And making Dracula more of a monster than a man, which doesn't happen very often. Usually, Gary Oldman turns into a monster for a little bit, and he'll come back as a man. But this time, that is a monster for like the duration.
So those of you listening along there, you'll have heard Ben say that he's down for anything Dracula related. So reading from this is Dracula Dead and Loving It episode confirmed for 2024. Thank you so much, everybody. What we got left tonight?
100% up for that. So we're going to go into Strange Darling in a little while. And a Members Club is a screening later on tonight. If we don't catch that for whatever reason, Andy, you've seen it, so we can get a review with you. We've already bumped into Aaron Truss and Jake West, friends of the show.
Get their reviews too.
And we want to get them back for a Phantasm free episode. They're on Phantasm 2D episode. We're going to be catching up with them before the screening of Razorblade Smile, the 4K version tomorrow. And we possibly might be appearing on camera talking about that film, but not this camera, Aaron Truss's camera, for something that could potentially be popping up in the future. We'll keep you.
Oh, should I do Dramatico on, man?
You looked at me as if to say, don't get your hopes up, mate.
I'll tell you what, mate, we've been stung by surprises and news this holiday.
No Elijah Wood, no Chris Stuckman. What other rumours are there?
Rob England.
I don't know how solid a rumour that is. We've been sworn to secrecy, but this episode will go out after the event, so it doesn't matter.
You're seeing Ben's little heartbreak like Ralph Wiggum in real time every time these things happen.
Traumatica, which just screened in the main screen over there. I didn't see it, but you did. So tell me a little bit about that and give me your thoughts.
So Traumatica, I think it's really stoked. It's got that similar sort of grubby, sort of decayed residential vibe that we got out of films like Barbarian last year.
Okay.
And it begins with a young boy who has been kidnapped and is being chased around the house by very sort of Resident Evil 7, like a corrupted person vibes. Someone who is nice to him 1 minute, then all of a sudden takes quite a demonic or sinister turn and is attacking him. Don't want to spoil it because there are twists and turns to the story. It goes into the past of that cold open and into the future after these things have been resolved as well. It covers the police investigation, and I don't think this is a major spoiler. It's in the title, Ben. It's a lot about the long tail of traumas that people experience and how they can manifest themselves in this circumstance in a supernatural way, which sets it at a high bar for me. I don't think I've been secretive about being a little bit over the monster being trauma all along in the last couple of years, but it is done quite sensitively. It does go quite deep into the particular lead's role of how she experiences those traumas, and I think the makeup effects and some of the physical manifestations of her possession / the long tail of her trauma is quite well manifested in the makeup effects as well. It's quite a dark and sinister one. Got a couple of jumps out of me when I was watching it as well.
Let's recreate one of them now.
Boo! No, I was going to make you jump.
Oh, look what it did. It made the gimbal go on the wonk. That was terrifying. I'm bringing it nice and close now as we close.
That's the type of thing that we've been experiencing so far. So,
God, keep talking.
Yeah, get us in frame, will you? Right. So that's another little bit of films. So you right up your nose. So we are off to another couple before we finish the rest of the evening, and then we've got some other things as well. One of our seatmates gave us, and we've been purposefully holding it back. Our seatmate in the main screen has a friend who does prop like foods for, and he's given us the thing which apparently is Halloween themed food props. That is a surprising element. I'm going to open it on camera for a live react.
If I get to a point where I'm absolutely starving and I end up eating it, and I end up getting food poisoning or worse,
so it's non-toxic. Everybody, pray for Ben.
Yeah, we'll catch up with you very, very soon. Goodbye for now.
Catch you on the next one. Bye.
Hangout.
Hello, welcome again. It is late night. On what day are we on? Saturday?
I believe so.
And I am with Jay Johnson, one of the stars of Members Club, which we just watched for the final movie of the evening. JD, you were just saying this is the first time you've seen the film.
Yeah.
In a finished format. How was it with the audience in there tonight? You had a good crowd.
Yeah, so we haven't seen anything from the film. We filmed it last year, and to see it for the first time with an audience who were laughing, but oh my gosh, it's so surreal because when you're filming something like that, it's so abstract, it's quite wacky, and a lot of it, you're like, how is that going to play on a camera? If you see the film, you understand what I mean. There's a lot of really off-the-wall moments, I'll say, but to see it in the full form and have an audience that seemed to be enjoying it, that was awesome. That was so sick.
And I think, obviously a very British horror comedy, but I think UK has a fine tradition of doing some great horror comedies. You're joining wonderful company. What sort of inspirations did you take when you sat down to start making the film?
I feel like Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead are my sort of references for this specific film. Now, maybe sacrilege to say, I can't stomach horror movies. I am such a wimp. And honestly, there's stuff that I saw in this movie tonight that I will have nightmares about. Yeah, I know. But through talking to Mark, who wrote and directed it, and getting to film this, I've just been opened up to a new world of movies. And I think, I'm doing it drip by drip. I watched Saw for the first time. That was...
So you've gone hard early.
Yeah, I was like, that seems like a pretty, beginner one to go in. Everyone's watched Saw, so I watched that, and I was like, great, the twist. I was on the floor. I fell off the sofa. It was so good.
Another 10 of those, you got work out.
I know, and I think they get more gory, and that's not British, so I've fallen off of what your comment was. But yeah, Shaun of the Dead.
No, that's great. So, do you think, would it be Mark, or would anyone else tempt you back to be in another horror film in the future?
Oh, absolutely, especially with this team. I think the thing for me is I love comedy, and so I would take comedy in any form, and I'm a little less squeamish now. I think you have to be to sit through a screening of Members Club.
So, if anyone else was inspired, they see you in Members Club, they want to check out, where else can they follow you? Where else might they see you in the future?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram and TikTok at Jade A. Johnson. And you know what? I'm actually more of I'm usually in musical theatre. I'm a singer and performer, so you can usually catch me in a musical. But hopefully, this will be the beginning of more screen stuff for me.
We have just seen a fabulous actor. Have you seen the new Alien movie yet? Stage actor and still stars as Andy in that. Phenomenal.
Yeah, and you know what? I also watched the first 3 Alien movies because of Mark. Not because he told me to, but my dad was like, let's watch that. And wow, creepy.
I'm going to be here next year, and you're going to be introducing stuff on stage. Horror aficionado. Well, you've earned yourself a drink, JD. Get off to the pub before they close. Thank you so much. Cheers. Bye.
Hello, I'm here with Dean Kilby. Mere minutes after Members Club screened at FrightFest, the late night showing on a huge screen, a rowdy crowd. How did it feel to see that film on the big screen?
It's always weird to see yourself in silver shorts running around being chased by a witch on a massive screen. But yeah, it was good fun. They seemed to enjoy it, and I'm still taking it all in, to be honest. It takes me a while. I need to watch a film again. I'm so focused on me going, oh, God, I look awful. I don't like the way I'm acting, blah, 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 blah. I'm some actor, sorry. But it was brilliant. It was brilliant. Everyone was laughing and in the right places, which is important. And a nice bit of drama in there, nice bit of family story. And yeah, I love it. I really enjoyed it. I think it's done amazing. Mark Coleman,
An amazing job.
It was great. It was really funny. I feel like it was quintessentially British. Of course, if you grew up with films in the 90s, you would have seen the Full Monty and things like that. Yeah. How was this film pitched to you, though? Because it's incredibly out there in terms of a concept. It's very high concept genre film as well. So how was it pitched to you? What drew you to this particular role as well?
Now, obviously, everyone knows my name out there. Of course they don't. So you don't need to pitch to me, you see. Let's be straight. I did a film with Mark called Manfish, done really well. I don't know if you've seen it.
No,
you've got to see Manfish then. It's Mark's first debut 2 years ago.
Noted, yep.
So the same team you see in this film as in Manfish, the core team. Done really well, won some awards and actor awards and cinematography, director awards, really good. So he said to me, I've written a new film. And we were promoting Manfish at the time in Manchester. He said to me, I better ask you before I go on stage. I've written a film for you. Do you want the lead role? I was like, yeah. He said, you haven't read it? I said, I know what you're like, Mark. I know it's going to be good. So I said, yes, read the script, and I was so pleased I did. And yeah, it's brilliant. It's just, so yeah, I'm sort of lucky, really, I suppose.
And the rest is history. I mean, it seemed like it must have been a really fun film to film as well. The cast seemed like they're all sort of having a great time during it. Did it feel, no, okay.
Very, 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 it's not a prison. No, it's really strict. The hours and that.
Yeah. And, the stripping sequences were just done over and over again. Stanley Kubrick style. Again.
Smaldine looked sad.
More gyration.
No, honestly, it's always fun to work on Mark's films.
I mean, suck it in then.
I know, sorry. I've got a range. Tell your friends. I do drama as well. Come back Monday, got Charlotte. Or Derek on Sunday.
Free films. Is that true?
That's true, yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh, really? Yeah, Charlotte's very serious, actually. But anyway, we talk about Charlotte.
He's the cameraman. What's he playing at?
I'll talk to you about Charlotte. But no, it was great fun to film. Honestly, it really was. We always have a laugh. I mean, if you don't have a laugh when you're doing it, what's the point? You know? Unless Mark says, all right, fun's enough, you're getting paid. Don't try to piss at me. But he didn't say that, but not even in that voice, which was good. That would have probably scared me a little bit. But luckily, no, we had a right laugh. It's cliche, but they're all nice people. They're easy to work with. And you just think, God, I'm getting paid to play and have fun and make a nice film, a mad film, a crazy film. So now I feel very privileged to be in it. And yeah, I said yes before I even read the script. That's how shallow.
And he did say, I've written a film and the lead role is for you. He said that as well.
Yeah, he said, I wrote you the lead in the next film. So I was a lead in Manfish as well, basically. And he obviously liked me in that. So basically I said to Mike, if you don't write me the lead in the next film, I will hunt you down and kill you. All right? It's all true. So yeah, so I was lucky. You know, he obviously liked me in the first film. I thought, I'm writing a film for Dean. I don't think he realised at the time people got interested in the script. They loved the script. And then he got producers involved who threw more money at it, which meant he could expand, get a casting director in, get more British well-known actors. And so for me, it was amazing. And yeah, it all worked out.
And it is great. As we said, it's funny. Obviously, yeah, it's got some horror as well. But as you mentioned before, the family drama element as well was something that was, I think sometimes it's a bit unexpected in a film like this. Is that something that you were glad was an additional thing, that it wasn't just you, just crotch close-ups, for example? It wasn't just that?
Yeah, I think it's important because it makes... Oh, thanks for that. He's not one of your team, is he?
Let's step forward a few. And there's a bit of
it's filmed live. No outtakes. It's no Mark Colin. It's again. No, it's just got to be done live, and you're getting what you get. No, I'm not getting paid for this. I shouldn't even do it. But what's the question? Oh yeah, so yeah, the family element. I think it's important. Just gives you a bit more depth and something more about the character. You want to sort of believe in them, and you want to feel for them, and you want to care about them. And then when they're silly, they're funny, or they've been possibly them being killed, makes it a bit more heartwarming. But Manfish is very similar, very horror, comedy, family, very stronger, actually, stronger ties in Manfish. But yeah.
I will, we'll get on the list, and we'll urge audiences to check out Manfish as well. And one more thing I did want to ask you is, you've got something I won't spoil this, but in the film, I think you've got quite an epic catchphrase that I think is delivered quite pretty well. Can you see yourself in the future being at horror conventions, signing and, saying the line for people, signing it?
I'll give the people what they want. If you want me, I'll be there. I might have to put contracts and stuff. We can go through that, my agent. But basically, yeah.
Basically,
It'd be nice.
basically, the answer is yes.
Yeah. Horror community's amazing. They're very close-knit. They're really supportive. So, yeah, I'd love to go to all the conventions and see people and hopefully they'll like the film, yeah.
Well, brilliant. Well, check out Members Club. Check out Dean in Charlotte and Derelict. Is that the other one?
Yeah, and they're very good. Very good film. I'm just saying, they're amazing film. Really lucky.
Is there,
Really amazing.
is there a world record for how many films one person has been at every...
You know the name. There's a guy who did 3 films. And so me and him, I think we need to fight. I don't know how big he is, but I'm happy to fight him if it means I get a title, Mr. FrightFest.
I think we should set this up somehow.
Find out
You know,
he is and get back to me.
find out how big he is first, height and width, and we'll get something organised.
I'm happy to take a draw, but I do want a sort of trophy or some sort of certification. Belt would be nice.
We'll be there cheering you on. Well, thank you very much, Dean. It's been a pleasure. Yeah, everybody check out Members Club.
Hangout.
Hello and welcome to Count Days in Head Sunday here at FrightFest. I am here today with FrightFest aficionado, film critic, and Gremlins fashion icon, Kat Hughes. Kat, hello, how are you doing?
I'm good, thanks for yourself.
Yeah, very well. A little bit tired. My circles under my eyes aren't usually this dark, but we're getting there. But I've still got a voice, so we're getting on all right.
You're doing better than me then, because this is not how I normally sound.
Couple of octaves higher normally.
Yeah.
So, I know you've been catching up on films before, during, around the festival. What are your big picks? What's really struck you this year?
Strange Darling. I've been championing it since Fantastic Fest, and it played Saturday night, and from what I hear, everybody really liked it. So I'm kind of like, that's good that I haven't led everyone up the garden path, because I also quite liked Erotica, but apparently that was a controversial opinion. So I almost got kicked out of the group chat for suggesting people watch it. So
you didn't like a thing, did you? My goodness.
Yeah, it was. Well, I think it was more like I said I liked it, so people went to watch it because I said I liked it, and they were like, "This is terrible." So yeah, I'm still in the group chat, but it was terrible.
You got a yellow card for that one.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, but then I immediately followed it up with Strange Darling, and I think that kind of almost forgiven.
So equaled out. So yeah, Strange Darling we saw last night. I thought, same as you, good reaction from the crowd. It's certainly one I've been recommending to people already. I think it's nice and accessible for like general, even non-genre audiences as well. For you, you've been doing FrightFest coverage for many, many years now. We saw you up on the big screen doing a documentary about 25 years of FrightFest. What keeps you coming back every year?
I really like championing independent genre films. Monsters was my first ever film here. I won tickets via a competition. And then I came to do like one film at a time. The first film I ever reviewed was Starry Eyes in 2014. And then the guy who was reading that for the Hollywood News left. And I was like, can I do it now? And I just, started with one. And now I cover like 50 to 60 of the titles at screen. And I just like getting to, know the filmmakers. FrightFest is a really, really welcoming atmosphere. And I mean, I have somehow become a FrightFest celebrity, which boggles my brain as filmmakers being like, oh my God, I love your reviews. And I'm like, oh, you, thank you. It's awkward. But yeah, it's nice. It's on the doorstep, and everyone here is just, a lot of fun to be around.
So you already mentioned it can be a tiring weekend, especially when you're trying to see everything or talk about or react to most things, as someone who reviews professionally does. How do you pace yourself over a 5-day festival like this?
I'm not sure I'm the person to ask about that. A lot of other journalists, they go and they watch a film and they review a film and they go home, or they work the media wall and then they go home. I continue on into the evening. I do the social side of it as well. But yeah, I'm a mum. I have a 5-year-old. And so it's kind of like mum's weekend away. So I just kind of store energy the rest of the year and then don't eat, don't sleep for 5 days. And that's fine.
That's a dream. And I imagine that having a small person to guide through life and make sure they stay alive is probably, dare I say, even more energy consuming than a film festival.
Yes. I mean, she's a very driven 5-year-old. We have a podcast together called Movies with Mummy, and she comes to FrightFest every year, has a snap on the media wall, And yeah, I'm just counting down the years until I can hand over the reins to her and just sit and enjoy films for the rest of the week.
And then it can be movies with Mummy, and she can be the main host, and you can be the guest.
Exactly.
That's an excellent business plan. So, movies with Mummy, you have a 5-year-old. At what point are you introducing her to horror genre cinema?
I mean, she's watched some because she's obsessed with, or she was obsessed for a time with A Nightmare Before Christmas. So she's kind of starting gentle, but she's very aware of horror films. She's so desperate still now to see the Evil Dead Rise trailer. Because when they released the film, they did this thing where you could take your picture and it would make you look like a Deadite. And she loved it. And then all of her toys were made into Deadites. Everything was made into a Deadite. And she was desperate to see the Evil Dead Rise trailer. But I'm like, that's probably a bit much, kids. And Smile. She thinks Smile is my favorite film because I did a press junket for it and she like heard me talking about it. So whenever we go into like HMV somewhere, she's like, Mummy, your favorite film, Smile. I'm like, okay. So, yeah.
Probably a good call on not letting her watch the Evil Dead Rise show. We don't want you on a list. So obviously we will let you go and conserve some more energy for the rest of the day. Thank you for spending a few minutes with us. A little bit of a scoop. We have been chatting off camera about maybe getting Kat to come and join us for, given the outfit, maybe Gremlins towards the end of the year. So saying it out loud on recording, so we have to get it in the notes. I'm basically putting our own admin together here, so it's recorded. We definitely remember. So for now, Kat, enjoy the rest of your FrightFest. We'll see you around screenings at the bar later on. Are you karaokeing tonight as we close?
Yes.
What's your karaoke song?
So me and a couple of friends always, we normally do a Meatloaf, but your time's quite tight, so we might switch to Bon Jovi tonight.
Very nice. Ben has a ticket, but I don't. So if you want to crack the fire escape when you're in there, that would be great. Thank you so much, Kat.
Thank you.
Hangout.
We're here with David Gelmini. He's a FrightFest regular writer, film fan. We actually caught up with him on last year's episode, right on the tail end of last year's episode. He appeared and we had a lovely interview last year, but we've seen you plenty of times so far at this festival, and we finally got a chance to speak to him on camera. How are you doing? Are you enjoying the festival so far?
Absolutely, 100%. I come to FrightFest every year. It's the best atmosphere and the best films. There's no reason not to come.
Absolutely, I totally agree. What has been your highlight of the festival so far?
Samurai in Time was amazing. The lead actor was so good. His performance drew you in. When he cried, you almost cried with him. He really made you feel as though you were feeling what he was feeling. He was tremendous, and the film was tremendous. It was so emotionally engaging, so powerful. I thought it was terrific.
Wonderful. Well, we've heard great things about Samurai in Time, and Mr. Andy Conduit-Turner has seen it, so we will be grabbing his thoughts as well at some point soon. Anything else that you're looking forward to in the remaining sort of like 2 days of the festival?
Oh, the Christopher Lee documentary is going to be amazing. I'm really looking forward to that. And I'm liking the new venue very much as well. Overall, FrightFest is the most important thing. There's no excuse not to come. Even if you have weddings or funerals planned, you skip them. You come to FrightFest because there's nothing else that's more important. Like what the hell else could you be doing except coming down to Leicester Square and watching horror films on the big screen for 5 days straight? There's nothing else you could be doing except coming to FrightFest.
I mean, I'm inclined to agree. It is fun times. I hope you've not skipped your wedding for this, David.
Definitely not.
No, definitely not. Any other highlights so far at the festival that you want to mention? Obviously, you said we've got the Christopher Lee documentary coming up. We're in for that one as well. We're looking forward to that. Have you met anyone sort of excited? Have you interviewed anyone so far?
I've been interviewing a lot of people so far. A lot of the cast and crew members. So I've been doing great with that. Having a really great time and just socializing, hanging out, watching the films. It's been great.
Good. I fully agree. I like to echo what David has said. It is a great time. You meet a lot of great people. You have a lot of fun. Give us another recommendation of something that you've seen.
Well, the last Voyage of the Meter finally had its UK premiere at FrightFest yesterday. It still doesn't have a general confirmed UK release date, which is absurd because it came out in the US last year. But I thought that was also a terrific piece of work. So when that finally does get a general UK release, I'd recommend all of you to track that down as well.
Definitely, I fully agree. It's a great film. Brilliant. Well, thank you, David. Thanks for taking a couple of minutes to chat to us. Really do appreciate it. And of course, we'll see you around. And I'm sure we're going to see you every year. We're here at FrightFest because remember, David's skipping funerals, weddings. He's skipping absolutely everything to be at FrightFest. Don't make any plans around this 4 or 5 days at the end of August any year with David. But yeah, thanks very much, man.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, welcome to day 4 officially of FrightFest. It is day 4, right?
Penultimate day, Ben, yes.
Penultimate day. I got confused then, thinking, is it day 4? Because it kind of feels 2 different ways. It feels like we've been here forever, but also not for that long at all. We're in like a strange pocket of time where time moves differently and everything is perceived in a different way.
Absolutely true. But if you look at the dark circles under my eyes, you can see that time has certainly been passing.
I don't think you got dark circles under your eyes. If I looked at your eyes, isolated like now, I'd think Steve Buscemi. No, I'd think lovely eyes of a young man, maybe someone who's on Love Island or something.
You're too kind or full of shit, mate. One of those 2 things.
It's probably the latter.
Still doing good. Having a lovely time. We've seen a lot of movies, so we're here to wrap up from yesterday and preview today, right?
Correct. Yeah, which we try to be quite organised with this, like have previews, then interviews, then roundups, but it doesn't always work out that way. So the order of this podcast may be a bit all over the place. But yeah, we've got some people last night, we've got some people today, so we've got some interviews in the bag already. But for now, we're going to do a little bit of a roundup and review for 2 films that we saw towards the tail end of yesterday in the main screen. First of all, we saw a film called Strange Darling.
Yeah, Strange Darling, I would say, as we stand, is probably up there in my running for one of the films of the festival so far. A great thriller. We really don't want to spoil anything of it, but it is getting a UK release date very soon. I believe next couple of weeks.
And I think it was, I want to say 20th of September. It's definitely around that time, because I was a bit like, okay, well, you're getting it soon. An intro from the director on a screen, a recorded message. Giovanni Ribisi is the cinematographer in this, and I swing in terms of his career direction, which was interesting. But I will admit, the film did look lovely.
Yeah, I think stunningly shot. I like the sort of non-linear narrative. I'll get you words, Andy. Easy for me to say. Non-linear narrative in the way that there were 6 chapters. It presents there again. There are 6 chapters to this movie, but then we see them in the separate order. And I think having that chapter structure allowed us to sort of meter out the story beats and the reveals to make the film and the story as effective as it could be. But it doesn't become an absolute spaghetti junction of timelines and become confusing. I think really easy to follow, like managed incredibly, incredibly well.
In a lesser film, presented in that way may have seemed a tad pretentious. And initially I was a bit like, because it started on like chapter 4 or something like that.
You do no wanker symbol at the screen for the first 10 minutes.
Let it wankers grow up.
That's all.
No. It wasn't pretentious. It earned the right to do that with chapter title cards and chapter titles. I really, really liked it. I think the lead performance from the actress, I've forgotten her name already. I'm sorry. You blanked on the name. Professionals here. It's Kyle
from the Scream TV series. If you watch,
yeah,
I will pull her name. Excuse me, looking down.
Yeah, we're professional guys here, but lots of names to remember, lots of details to remember. Her performance was insanely good. Started off in one. You thought it was one thing, then you kind of go in a different direction. The vibes are kind of like grindhouse, neon-soaked thriller that evolves into a kind of cat and mouse thriller scenario.
Yeah, and, those leads, Kyle Gellner is your lead male, and then Willa Fitzgerald of Scream TV series fame. I would say a career-defining performance.
Oh, it was outstanding. I absolutely loved it. The twists and turns of the narrative were great as well. I was on the edge of my seat. It was cool. When films like try to be cool and you're a bit like, come on now, I ain't dealing with it. This film was effortlessly cool, and I also feel like maybe too cool for me.
And I know, Ben, you're a lighting and soundtrack man as well, right? And I think both of those stunning stuff.
Absolutely stunning. Yeah, it was great. I really enjoyed it. And I will also say that it was, as you said about it being one of the films of the festival, I think it's up there. You wouldn't necessarily say straight up horror. I think there are horror elements, of course, like there are more thriller elements. But I think in terms of I was going to say it's really funny as well. That's what everything I was going to mention.
Lots of comedy, like really good, sharp dialogue, comedy beats to it as well.
And lots of moments where things would happen that you were referred back to. Because of the non-linear narrative, it could be like, oh, I'm a bit confused what's actually happening. But you almost were able to fill in the blanks yourself or piece together the orders. Like, okay, now we need part 4. We've already seen part this and this and this. Now we need this part to fill in that blank. Oh, I'm assuming we're going to find this out. So that was good. It was easy. It wasn't like a Memento where you're like, going backwards now? We're going backwards or forwards? What's going on? Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. High recommend from me on this one. Go see it soon. If it's out on the 20th, Ben suggests you'll be able to remember 21st night of September when you go and see it.
Exactly.
Give it a day, let the crowd.
Give it a day, let the crowd slow down. And then after that, we watched a late night screening of Members Club. We've already interviewed 2 of the stars from that. It's actually the second time Andy's watched it because he's already confirmed to me now that it's his favourite film of all time.
I mean, Ben, let's not besmirch the name of Jurassic Park here. But
any film where at least 4 middle-aged men end up mostly naked, Andy's front and centre for. And me as well, to be fair.
I say, you suggesting there's anything wrong with that, Ben, here on the internet?
Absolutely not. I'm not suggesting anything's wrong with that. I never would. But yeah, this is a quintessentially British comedy horror film with... it's inspired by things like The Full Monty. I was kind of getting like Four Lions vibes as well in terms of like the silliness of the dialogue between the characters.
Yeah, and not afraid to gross you out or go for some over-the-top gore effects either as well, right? And, as you say, very heavily comedy-coded. There was an audience that was getting a lot of laughs out of it. I know we were sat just in front of some friends and family of the cast and crew who were going for their lives. They're having a great time. And I know that one of the film stars, they sold so well, they have a secondary screening of it this evening. I would almost love to be in this one. One of our stars who meets a, should we say, very specific end in the film.
A grisly end.
His children are coming to see it, and he has not told them what happens yet. I would love to be a fly on the wall in that screening tonight.
To sum it up, if we haven't mentioned already, it is basically based around some middle-aged strippers who get invited to perform at a party where the organisers have sinister intentions for them, shall we say?
Shall we say, indeed. Alas, in fact, there's Dean just now.
To be fair, though, I will also say that it has, in terms of being British, there's lots of recognisable faces from British comedy as well. There was like there's Big Mad Andy from Peep Show. He's in it. That's not you. That's not my name for you. And I feel like I think I've already seen on various things that. I don't think that is him. Is that him? Yeah. You sure?
The same man that you met yesterday. I can tell it's him because he's got the same face and body.
Interesting. I'm actually going to disagree with you and try and prove you wrong in a minute. But we'll save the disagreements for off screen, yeah.
Or we can just accept.
Or we can just accept that
I was right and not look into it.
We can also accept that Andy is correct, which I'll do that sometimes. So, Members Club, obviously. We're going to review a couple more films that we've seen just to fill in the blanks of things in terms of some screeners we've seen, but also something that David just mentioned, which was A Samurai in Time. I haven't actually had a chance to see it. I've been hearing nothing but good things from everyone who has had a chance to see it, and you have, Andy. Let's do a little bit of review of that right now.
I mean, you'll have heard David already. I probably don't have the same emotional language that he has, but an absolute stunner. I felt like, you're right, not horror-coded at all in the sense, well, beyond the sense that there are some supernatural, unreal things that happen, but an incredibly powerful, character-driven film. It begins in sort of Shogun-era Japan. A samurai is staking out the lair of like an evil clan, and he ends up in a duel to the death with like a rival samurai when lightning strikes, and all of a sudden he wakes up in modern era Japan on the set of like a period drama that's being filmed, and it's a uncomplicated, well, it has complications too, but it is not complex in the fact that it is just a beautiful story that is really emotionally heavy. No story spoilers, but there's just a moment. If you imagine someone from the past coming here to our modern era and experiencing things that we have, there is a time when a family takes him in, and the the mother of the house, she cooks him just a simple meal of like some rice, and he like falls to his knees in tears, like saying like, I've never tasted rice that is so delicious and it is so pure and white. It is like the snows of Mount Fuji, and he's genuinely like falling to his knees and in tears with thankfulness for what they're feeding him.
Have you ever
A
had?
beautiful story.
I don't mean to divulge from that. Have you ever eaten anything that's made you react in a similar way?
I guess I've been pretty hungry, and I've tried pizza for the first time. My goodness,
For the first time.
the first day I had a pizza, man, that melty cheese, yum.
I would say like a Haagen-Dazs Dulce de Leche when you've really got an old, when you're really in the mood for something sweet after you've had a lovely bit of dinner. That just really hits the spot. Slightly melted, ready to go straight in the gob. I've divulged from your review. I apologise.
But a beautiful story. I would recommend anyone seek this out and watch it. It's just a lot of fun, and it's got a lot of heart to it, this film. I would recommend anyone watch it.
Wonderful.
I haven't seen yet, though, right?
I have seen something that you haven't seen. I don't know if I would describe it in any of the same ways as you described the Samurai in Time, as an emotional experience like that, and a cathartic experience, it seems. I saw a film called Scared Shitless, which is a creature feature about some plumbers who go to investigate a disturbance in like a block of, or like a, I guess like a residential building, tower block type scenario. And there's some sort of creature coming out of the toilets, killing people arse first, you know.
See the best 20 minutes. I didn't stop because I was bored. I ran out of time.
You ran out of bloody time. It's got Stephen Ogg in it from Grand Theft Auto 5. Stephen Ogg from Grand Theft Auto 5, and he's great in it. Also, he's in like Walking Dead and obviously loads and loads of other stuff. But for me, he is Trevor from Grand Theft Auto 5. And yeah, I thought it was really good. It was really fun. It was kind of like a good father and son story as well. I think when you've got that element to it, it takes away from the kind of schlocky B-movie vibes, and you do kind of lock in for things. And also there's a dog, and when there's a dog and there's a creature, you often think, if this dog gets slipped off, I'm going to be absolutely raging.
Mr. Mash Millman, a friend of the show, Mash Millman, who loves dogs being killed, and he doesn't like cats being got, right?
Mash Millman?
All the things I let go, Ben.
I'm very sorry. I think we've got to the point now where you can see the cracks forming in a relationship. You saw just now we were disagreeing upon if a man was there or not. And also, maybe on day one, I would have let a slip of the tongue let that go. But on day 4, I'm thinking, oh, well, Lenny, I'll go on. Andy?
It's all right, we'll just see, eh?
I would just say, that's threatening. Extremely threatening. But yeah, Scared Shitless, I would recommend it. I did enjoy it for kind of what it was. I think it was good. In terms of what we got coming up today, we are just about to go in mere minutes, going to watch documentary Life and Death. We do something on my face then.
No?
Can you see the cracks forming? The cracks are elongated as time goes. He just nodded to everyone. It's definitely not him. He's just nodded to everyone as they go by. We're going to watch The Life and Deaths of Christopher Lee, a documentary about the life and deaths of Christopher Lee, or death. He only had one. It says deaths.
In the film, though, as a Dracula, he probably got loads of times.
That makes a lot of sense.
What it's about.
Do you know what, Andy? You're correct. I'll let you have that one. We're watching that.
I will own that definitely wasn't him.
Live on the podcast, or are you admitting you're incorrect?
Yeah, but I always do incorrect because I am pure like that, and I have no flaws. Yeah, so when you do make a mistake, it's more important that you own it.
I've got relatively bad eyesight as well, and the fact that I managed to be correct in that scenario fills me with joy.
That's happens and saying everything perfectly because you dare not make a mistake.
Oh, sorry. This might be the last part of the podcast, you know? This might be the end because we've fallen out and I've gone home.
Never. This is, you know what this is, everyone? For anyone who is not familiar with our culture, it's just mad bands, isn't it?
It's just pure mad bands all the time. And it never ever borderlines on upsetting.
The Archbishop of Banterbury just here. Yeah. Sometimes I prefer a more secular nickname myself.
Yeah, and then we've got obviously other films to catch up with later. You're going to a screening of the 40th anniversary of A Nightmare on Elm Street. We've also got the 4K restoration of Jake West's Razorblade Smile tonight.
Lots later.
St. Clair? I've done it again.
I don't know anything about stuff that's to do with the Lord, mate. I don't know their names. What's his son's name? Hey, Zeus?
Hey, Zeus! I don't mean to keep correcting you. That's not my vibe. I don't like doing that. But I will.
Put the little title card, do you like Ben Errington pedant?
Amazing. Yeah, and then we're going to catch up with some other people. There's some people we haven't got on film yet that we do want to talk to.
Yes, I want to try and catch up with Errol, Andy Edwards, we've seen around as well.
Alan Truss, even though he's officially he's appeared in the background a few times, we need to officially get some words
with Jake after the screening if we can.
Yeah.
Lots more to come.
Lots more to come.
Don't think the last 2 days are going to be downhill, mate. We're going to be busy.
We're going to be incredibly busy. Looking forward to it. Yeah, let's do it. Let's see what else FrightFest has got for us for the next couple of days.
Come on, I'll buy you some sweeties and we'll go to watch our film.
We'll have some sweeties and we'll have some sweeties and we'll make friends with other people, not each other. All right, see you later.
Bye.
Hangout.
We are just out of seeing the documentary, The Life and Deaths of Christopher Lee. I am lucky enough to be standing here with director John Spira. How was seeing that in front of a big audience today, John?
It was amazing. It was incredible. You know, in these days of how independent films are made, you see it on your computer and you see it on your TV. And if you're lucky, you see it in the mixing studio. And sometimes you never see it in cinemas. See it in this cinema was very emotional. It was lovely. It's wonderful. Yeah.
And it obviously must have been a passion project of yours to come through, you know, Christopher Lee's fabulous career. How do you go about choosing what the highlights are of such a storied career?
Well, you edit. I don't know. I don't have like a fancy answer. Really, what you do is you research it, you pick out stuff that interests you, you do a bunch of interviews, you stick it all in a pile in front of the editor, and then you spend months and months going, how can we get this down to 90 minutes? So the strongest stuff comes through. And I think as a director, that's what makes every director different, is what the strongest stuff would represent. So to me, the strongest stuff was the emotional core of it. I'm really exploring his insecurities and kind of his fragilities. And to me, that's what the film was really about. So those were the big things that I pulled out personally.
So the sort of narrative of the documentary, you give Sir Christopher Lee a voice in the form of Peter Serafinowicz. How did you go about choosing Peter for the voice, or was that an obvious choice for you?
First choice, I just went, well, I thought, who could do this? He's such a great impersonator in general, and his natural spoken voice is very deep and kind of sonorous. So it was just a matter of getting in touch and saying, did he want to do it? We didn't test him. He never gave us the voice until he was up on the microphone. But we knew, he's professional. He would have taken the job if he couldn't do it. And he was stunning. And what I love most of all about his performance is that it's a performance. It's not an impersonation. An impersonation is a short, comical satire, which is not anyone can do Christopher Lee. You know, anyone can do a Christopher Lee impersonation. But what he did was a performance. And I think he got to the soul and the heart of it, and he found the humour in it, and he found the pathos in it, because he's an actor as well. And he was amazing.
And the overall presentation of this, I found it really, really compelling to see, not just because I know with documentaries, there's a lot of power and there's a lot of insight that can be gained from talking heads, but I really like how you weaved a narrative into there with a lot of work from different artists. I saw Lou Stringer's name amongst many an old favourite. How did you come up with the sort of narrative that you wanted to tell and the visual design? Is that something that came over a long time, or was that an instant vision for you?
I knew that because Christopher Lee's career was so colourful, I wanted the film to be colourful. And also, he operated through 8 decades of cinema, and I needed that to be clear on screen. I needed to feel different the whole way through. I love talking heads, and in the past I've been slated for using too many talking heads, so I knew that people wanted something different this time. And animation seemed like a kind of natural way to go. And the puppet came about through crazy, various kind of, all this stuff just develops over time. I just wanted there to be as much colour and weirdness and strangeness on screen as we could get. And as we were doing each section, it became obvious who would be good. I mean, Lou Stringer was the kind of DC kind of the kind of Beano style thing. So you just go, well, we need someone who draws for the Beano. And we've used Simon Colby for a couple of films now. He's a 2000 AD artist. And it was obvious to get him to do the war section. And my friend Astrid Goldsmith, who's an incredible stop motion animator, I always wanted to do the opening section, which had Terry Gilliam-esque. So, there was that, but then also we've got this incredible co-producer called Chloe Hancock, and she is really well connected with the next generation of animators who are coming up. And she could just say to us, this person will be incredible, this person will be incredible. And these are people who, who really are straight out of art school and leapt at the idea of working with us, doing stuff. So there's some amazing stuff in there. I mean, there's one whole section, there's one animation, we've not already talked about it yet, but one whole, the guillotine animation. That's AI animation. That's AI animating photos. And it's got the maddest dreamlike quality to it. And, when I first saw that, I was like, I don't know what's happening. And it was so disorienting. But the story that he told was story to story, so I was like, that's going to hurt to do this. So it just...
Okay, so if anyone has heard us talking about the documentary today and they're wondering where they can find it, is there anywhere that they should be looking out, or where they should follow to hear when they can see it?
It'll be on Sky in the UK from the 24th of October. It's part of the Christopher Lee season. We're doing a whole bunch of film festivals. There's still tickets for the BFI on the 1st of October, and you can find the Blu-ray. We're self-releasing the Blu-ray through Kickstarter, so if you're on Kickstarter, you can still get the Blu-ray, which comes in a wooden coffin. So, very special.
Wonderful. That is more notes for the show notes for you, Ben. We'll add all those in so people can find it. John, I will let you go and take in some praise and celebration and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thanks so much for spending time with us. Thank you.
Hangout.
Hello there. We're just about a screening of Never Have I Ever is about to begin here at FrightFest, and we got some cast family members here. We didn't ask your names. How rude. I'll ask them now. Easy question to start with. What are your names?
I'm Olivia.
Olivia.
I'm Josh.
Josh, nice to meet you both. And which of your relatives is in Never Have I Ever?
Well, I'm the brother. She's my girlfriend.
Okay. Yeah. So more pressure on you.
More pressure on me, yeah. I'm excited to see it.
So you've not seen the film at all
I
yet?
haven't seen it, no. Not yet. This is the first time seeing it.
What do you know about it, and what are your expectations of it?
I haven't seen anything.
You've literally not seen nothing? What, not even a trailer?
No,
I've seen the trailer.
I think I've seen the trailer, but I don't remember it. But I'm excited to see it anyway.
Oh, no!
I'm excited.
He's excited to see it anyway. He saw the trailer, he doesn't remember, but that's fine. You're here to support a family member.
And I hope she does well.
I'm excited for you.
Have you been practicing your cheers and whoops for when she's on screen?
I've been practicing for the Q&A questions afterwards. I'm going to make sure someone speaks to her.
Have you seeded a question for her?
A question. I won't say it yet, but I've got a question.
Is it like, you got that telly you owe me?
It might be not.
If you're going to put her on the spot to ask any question that she's got to answer, now's the time.
Have you thought of what you're doing for Mom's birthday? It's coming up.
These are some good ideas. I might have to use them.
Exactly. Well, enjoy yourselves.
Thank you. Let's make you enjoy the screening.
Thank you.
Thanks very much for joining us. Goodbye. There we go. That's what happens in journalism. Basically, what happens is unexpected moments. Yeah.
Should we roll into Never Have I Ever?
There was a moment where I was going to say, shit, we didn't even record that, but we did. It's fine. I'm doing both here.
Yeah, let me take a camera off your hands then. Shall we talk about Never Have We Ever while we're there? Because we're here to do a little recap on a few things.
Never Have I Ever is a film starring Andrew Lee Potts. I'm not sure.
I don't know I ruined a trifle by smuggling his image into it.
If you've listened to the podcast, you may have heard that story before, so it's crazy. The serendipity is insane. That's the right word, isn't it?
Correct.
As I said, Andy Conduit-Turner, humor thesaurus, is very important for me and my and just my vocabulary. What I will say is, as it was just family members of Never Have I Ever, and now we've got to do a review of Never Have I Ever, I feel a little bit.
I think you can you can very gently say that it wasn't for you, right?
I can very gently say that it wasn't for me. Yes. Gently.
Yeah,
you saw it as well.
I did see it as well. I agree with some of the things that you said. I think narratively, as we were saying just off mic a little while ago, I think when we're talking, there is a revenge story which is in play here, and we are talking about traumas coming back to revisit on people, and we're talking about the sins that people have maybe tried to move away from, finally catching up with them. And I think it's fair to say that it's perhaps a more complex plot than was needed for this one, which all kind of comes barreling out towards the end in the final moments of the film. Maybe didn't need to be quite that complex. Maybe could have been made a little bit leaner to make him more effective. But what we will say is lots of names that we're seeing turn up in horror cinema, and we're seeing do a lot of horror. So Johnny Vivesh makes an appearance as a barman who refuses to serve our troubled writer.
I would say if you walk into any bar and you say, stick it on the tab, or I ain't got any money, I'll pay later, you're well within your rights to be refused service.
Unless you're a very regular customer. But Amber, former interviewee of Winnie the Pooh and Honey, was on as well, right?
Yeah. We've already said hello to her. We've seen her.
Beyond that, then, I mean, off camera, obviously, but she is recruited us to be in karaoke with her later on.
I feel like we've been recruited by everyone and recruited everyone to be in karaoke. It's going to end up being us refusing to get off of the stage.
Every single person going, come on, lads, you promised you'd come up with us.
Yeah, exactly.
How you doing for the vocals? If you hear us looking and sounding very hoarse tomorrow, everybody, it's because people call us on that stuff.
Obviously, been doing a lot of talking, been watching a lot of films, but doing a lot of talking as well. So I feel like we're going to have to do warm-ups. Honey and Lemon's going to have to be, if we can find somewhere to get that. I'm joking, of course. Or am I?
Yeah, just do a Lionel M sip, mate, before you go in.
A Lionel M sip straight up the schnoz. Never have I ever. Let me just say, I think I understand the complex nature of getting a film made and every all the moving parts you need to put into place. That should be respected, of course. I find the plot of this film, unfortunately, very unnecessarily complex. I think when you're telling human stories, I think when you add too many ingredients to that, and I'm not talking characters. I'm not talking like a cast of characters of dozens. You know, when you've got like Oppenheimer, when it's literally like, I've lost count of how many bloody scientists there are in this film. I guess it's similar to that, where you're like, if replacing Oppenheimer's characters with cogs of this complicated story, I would say it kind of lost me. And perhaps I was expecting more in terms of genuine thriller elements and horror elements as well. Because apart from that, it kind of felt a bit, and maybe this is the moment now, Andy, where I say something that could perhaps be considered as a true negative comment. It felt like Hollyoaks Later to me.
I mean, we have nothing but respect for the fine people that have been turning out episodes of Hollyoaks year on year, consistently, new stories every. It's a hard job, but I also exactly see your point.
Okay, and the point is just that. Let's move swiftly on, because we don't like to stick around too much if we've got nothing but bad things to say. So
I think let's look at. I think I like to try and recommend what you would, the type of person that would enjoy this. If you like a bit of character-driven drama, if you like a bit of mystery, and I think there is a certain appeal to like taking something like, in this case, a drinking game, Never Have I Ever, and applying that to the mechanics of trying to get the truth out of someone who's maybe hidden a few things and bringing some dark secrets to light. Conceptually, I think there's some fun to be had with that. Do you want a quick round? Here we haven't got drinks, we can't play, unfortunately.
A quick round of Never Have I Ever. No, I don't want to do that, because I feel like I would overshare, and that's my problem, unfortunately, especially on camera.
In that case, Ben, we'll do a nice simple one to start. Never have I ever seen the film Azrael, Angel of Death.
Oh, I have. I have a drink. I've seen it. I've seen Azrael, Angel of Death. It's just called Azrael in the US, I believe, but Angel of Death tagline has been added for UK audiences for some reason. Samara Weaving.
We don't know angels so much, we're more secular.
Exactly, that's the thing. So Samara Weaving led post-apocalyptic. Added an extra tick onto apocalyptic tick. Then tick tick boom.
Just the record, I wasn't going to say anything.
Yes, you were. I saw you. I saw that you were. Post-apocalyptic. Samara Weaving led zero dialogue, or pretty much zero dialogue, set in a world that is very similar to the world of The Last of Us 2. Reminded me of it in such a way that the Seraphites in The Last of Us 2, who communicated via whistling and various other things, and were very religion-based. I think it's supposed to have taken place after some level of the Rapture. And there are these kind of weird... This isn't a spoiler, because it kind of kicks off with this. We see them immediately. These weird kind of like burnt creatures. They're kind of like the creature from the Descent, if they had been left at the bottom of the oven, like cheese, and cooked over and over again. Completely blackened. They've been scorched, is the correct word.
What was their name? They said the creatures?
I don't think they were called anything. The Chard would be a great... the Chard would be a great name.
Yeah, the Chard.
In the credits, they were just called burnt men or burnt women, I think so, unfortunately. The Birdman. I think this is a film that suffered from having no dialogue. I think when you've got someone like Samara Weaving, who I think is a great actress, but I think dialogue's kind of her thing. You know, I wouldn't say she's got those. Someone like Anya Taylor-Joy, who is just like a great silent actor because she's got the most evocative, is that the right word?
Yeah.
Eyes.
The best eye actors in the world.
The best eye actors in the
Anya
world.
Taylor-Joy, Lupita Nyong'o, Dule Hill.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm saying, and I think Samara Weaving, I think in terms of this, someone like her who's been in films like Ready or Not, where, you know, she's proper kicking ass, and she does get a chance to kick some ass in this. But it felt like it was just, didn't really have its own identity, was kind of leaning heavily into lots of other things without really doing any of them justice. There's even some moments where you think, oh, perhaps it's going to go in a different direction. Perhaps we're going to get some interesting reveals, for example, but no. So, yeah, I would say enjoyable but marginally disappointing.
Okay. Meanwhile, Ben, I was not disappointed at all. While you were off enjoying yourself with Azrael, I was off watching a 4K restoration of The Nightmare on Elm Street for its anniversary screening here at FrightFest.
Absolutely delightful. In fact, let's take a little walk just down the way, and we can have a look at the poster. Well, let's go. Let's go live. Let's keep walking. Just have a look at the poster. So how did the 4K restoration actually look?
The 4K restoration of this web, but there's that beautiful poster in the background right now.
Move over a tad. Get it in the middle. You can't make yourself transparent. Since when?
I might have worked in espionage if I was doing that, though, I guess. So,
never heard of that country. Great joke.
To educate you on
Okay, so let's frame this nicely for us to talk about now on Elm Street. Let's swap. Let's do a swapsy. Yeah. Oh no, your arms are in.
Arms aching. Been holding that like it's a landmine at the end of the Punisher. Yes.
Perfect.
What a poster available for. It's been given away in a raffle here. Have you entered yet, Ben?
No, I haven't entered, but maybe I should. But yeah, how did the 4K restoration of on Elm Street look?
It looked phenomenal. And like obviously it's the first time I've ever seen. I mean, not been old enough to go and see A Nightmare on Elm Street when it first ran in cinemas. I think it ran incredibly well, and seeing those details that appear when it's on the big screen, like I mentioned to you as it came out, only on this viewing on this big screen have I learned that Nancy from Nightmare on Elm Street, apparently, big fan of Sting and the Police. Got a big poster of him up on the wall.
Oh,
big Sting.
Name another member of Sting. I've done this to you already. I'm going to do it.
Shoot Copeland.
Correct.
That's your turn. What's the third one?
I'll turn down the third one.
Dave, you fell into my trap.
It was a well-laid trap, and I fell for it. My fault.
Wonderful. So yeah, I mean, we obviously know the story of Nightmare on Elm Street. We've done an entire episode on it, but lovely to see it again. Like, always a compelling watch, and great to see it with an audience as well. Getting to see them enjoying it live. So we'll have to go back and start watching the series again, ready for our inevitable. We up to 4 on the podcast?
Yeah, I think we're on to 4.
Dream Master.
Dream Master. We need to get ourselves onto that. We need to finish. It's definitely a franchise. It would be nice to complete, right?
Yeah, because I'm halfway there now. We can make it.
I think the only like big franchise we've completed, and by big I mean with lots of entries, is Alien.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was that. What have we got coming up next? We might have a couple more films to talk about actually really quickly.
There's a couple that we can cover. So one, you met Dean Kilby yesterday. You had a lovely chat with him.
Yes, indeed. Let's walk back.
Bring it back. There are thieves everywhere, and you worry about your bag.
I'm very, very worried about my bag. You know, actually, I think our FrightFest folk, they're very trustworthy. It's fine.
Also a bit like one of those Thomas Cook adverts. Come on,
come on. Hold me hands, and we'll go down the place to look at the.
Get Jesslyn on. Come on a package holiday. Come on.
Oh yeah. Can I have a little blast of that Jesslyn song?
No, copyright strike. Because I'll sing it so accurately.
Yeah. Is that actually Jesslyn singing that yet?
So, a couple of Dean Kilby's other films that here are playing, I believe, today and tomorrow. So it's a good time to call them out now. I believe today we have Charlotte that is on, about a young girl who is having some trouble at home, who finds herself going into the house of a stranger and seeking shelter. Fortunately, Stranger's got a bit of a dark past, Ben.
He's got a dark past. Yeah, I hate people with dark pasts.
One that puts her in immense danger. It's obviously quite a sensitive topic for many. It does cover like adult sexual abuses of young people, and but it isn't so straightforward as that. There's more to this story than makes sense. And I saw this. I actually watched it before I saw Dean in Members Club. So seeing him play an incredibly dark and serious role in this one, and he does so with absolute aplomb. He's got some, and then goes on to do this comedic turn that we saw him in yesterday. A lot of range that he's showcasing in this one.
Some serious range, and of course, after talking to Dean yesterday, we've kind of already planted the seed of a showdown with Johnny Vivash. So if we manage to get Johnny Vivash on camera, we'll put it to him. We'll say
who can do the most FrightFest movies next year.
Yeah, that's basically it. That's how your career will shape up from now. Forget trying to, appear in as many great indie horrors as you can and elevate yourself, and just for love of the craft, forget that. It's beating each other out, right, with who's spitting the most.
And we'll say, look, everybody, I know obviously you try and bring your best to every production you are cast in, and quality is an important thing for all of you, but unfortunately, in this particular circumstance, it's all about quantity, so get on it. Put the hours in.
Getting every film on the short film showcase. Every single film.
So that was one of the, and then we'll finish off with Derelict as well. A very, very gritty, like urban drama, tale of revenge. And I think I mentioned yesterday, there is a period in British horror cinema right now. There is a lot of social commentary that really talks about poor funding, like really derelict, like derelict experiences, and people that are really suffering from large, high levels of deprivation, and how that manifests itself in the crime and sort of the loss of innocence and hope that exists in those areas. Not one to watch if you're feeling bad about things at the time. And again, a really powerful and gritty drama to be had out of Derelict there.
Not a good one then.
And again, but another a third very different performance from Dean there as well. He's not in this one quite so much, but he is pivotal to the events of the story.
He's not a stripper in this one.
No, not that I'm aware of. So that was that. Is there anything else that you have on your list that we have spoken about, we have seen but not covered yet?
Sorry. I've got one for you. I'm going to read it out because it says shit. Oh, fucking hell. Schlitter. Evil in the Woods was a film that I saw. A German sort of revenge thriller, I guess you would say. I thought it was okay. It didn't grab me perhaps as much as some films that have this sort of setup, I guess. But the person who's acting out the revenge, I think there's something very specific about this person which makes it, I guess, unique in a way. But yeah, it kind of plays out how you would expect it to. Perhaps there are a few too many decisions in it which feel like, come on, these decisions are not being made by any human of sound mind, right? Which, of course, I guess sometimes goes part and parcel of horror movies. You kind of have to have those people making those bad decisions so that the plot can progress, I guess, in a way. But yeah, that is the only other thing I've seen. That is actually showing tomorrow morning here at the Discovery screens, so we'll be checking that out. But yeah, the only other thing we've got on the agenda today is going to be the later showing of Razorblade Smile, the 4K restoration of Jake West's movie. Aaron Truss is involved heavily with the promotion of this, and he's been involved in the process of it. We're going to hopefully get both of them on camera, Aaron Truss and Jake West, talking to them about Razorblade Smile. It's cult status as a movie, its cultural impact. Because you know what? It's a bit like Underworld before Underworld was Underworld.
Didn't know it was about Underworld. This will be my first watching of Razorblade Smile.
Wow.
Came to Gates' work later in his career with Evil Aliens. But having heard him speak and have him join us on that episode where we talked Phantasm 2, he is a director and a creator who I think really is interested in the small details and everything having a meaning when he has his films, but as well as putting out a dark and entertaining piece of entertainment. So I'm looking forward to see it was his feature debut, right?
feature debut. He told us he was only 26 years old when he made his film, so that's fascinating. We've got lots of questions about it to ask him. Let's ask him on camera. So next time you see us, obviously, apart from those interviews, we'll be post-karaoke.
Yeah. Listen to our voices now and prepare for the worst, everybody.
Could be hoarse, or, both of us might chicken out and just enjoy heckling everybody else, right?
Yeah. Just sort of singing a bit louder than you normally would, but from the safety of the sidelines, not on the stage.
Exactly. That's what we'll be doing. Okay.
The coward's way. Thanks, everybody.
The coward's way. Okay. See you soon. Bye.
Hangout.
Well, good evening from here at FrightFest. We have just finished watching the 4K restoration of Razorblade Smile. My first watch, but not the first watch for Mr. Christopher Adamson here, who starred in the film as our antagonist. Christopher, what was it like seeing it here on the big screen restored?
I thought it was amazing, fantastic. What a great show, how entertaining. And right now we're sitting in the front row of scene 2 at the Odeon Deluxe, and basically we're right up against the screen. We had the sound right in our ears. It really enveloped us. And I think it's an absolutely amazing show, and especially this 4K restoration number. For goodness sake, it's wonderful colour. It's beautiful sound. I mean, this was made for peanuts. This was made for a couple of £1,000, and then they got some more money to do the final cut. And now, for some reason, somebody has given loads more money to do this 4K restoration, which is really wonderful. And I'm hoping, and I'm pretty sure it will be quite popular, at least for a while, because this is good. A good show. What did you think? Did you enjoy it?
I enjoyed it very much. As a first watch, I mean, I don't want to spoil anything, because, as you say, one that maybe not as many people who should have seen it already, and with this 4K restoration, I'm certainly going to be recommending it when it's available. I think my Christmas present buying is sorted as well. There are so many people as I was watching this, so I thought I can recommend this to them. There are other horror podcasts, some of our colleagues that we work with around the world that I'm going to be emailing on my train home tomorrow to say, this is coming out, I recommend you check it out, because ultimately I think what we had in this film was a great deal of fun and excitement and surprises, and we can't, I was saying before we came on camera, in this day and age, I think you can sometimes rumble a film and what surprise is going to be in there within the first few minutes. I was genuinely surprised throughout this film, and also just a lot of fun. And we met with Jake's parents out there, and a lot of it was filmed at their house, right?
It certainly was. We were weeks at their place, this wonderful mansion which had been carved up into a number of flats or apartments. We were filming in the garden and in their ground floor apartment, and that really gave it the atmosphere. And basically, to your friends and people around the world, I think both men and women really enjoy watching this effort, this film. Basically, guys and goddesses, there's sex, violence, and blood. Tits and blood and death, and it's really enjoyable. What else do you want? What else can you ask for?
For entertainment, very little. Sandwich at the end, maybe, and then that's all we need.
Exactly.
Christopher, they seem to be turning the lights out on us here, so we should disappear into the night. But thank you so much for spending a few minutes with us.
Thank you for meeting you two. You're already appreciative of this.
Hangout.
I'm here with Dina Costello, and we're about to talk. We just watched Razorblade Smile in 4K,
yes.
And you worked on a lot of the costumes, which are obviously incredibly iconic in the film.
Yes,
How did it feel watching the film on that big screen, sharing it with the audience like that? Was it super exciting?
Yes, that was awesome. That was great. I haven't seen the film for a while, so it was really good to see it again.
When is the last time you saw the film?
When we released it in 1998.
That was the last time you saw it?
Yeah, when we screened it for crew.
What was the process like coming up with all the costumes and sourcing all the costumes on such a micro budget?
Sort of micro, no budget, yes. Asking lots of favours, borrowing stuff I had, asking people what they had in their wardrobe. Yes, basically, yeah, begging, beg, steal it, but not steal.
Beg, steal. Beg, borrowed, not steal. Underline, not steal. So we'll talk. We briefly just before mentioned Underworld. Obviously, there's a lot of things that this film came before, and it feels like Underworld has kind of like maybe begged, borrowed, and maybe stolen from that. How did that feel though? Because I guess in a way that must have felt quite like a little bit positive in a way that something like that had possibly maybe was it ever officially confirmed?
They say
serious
copies that is the best form of flattery.
Straight up. What was it you call it, Andy? The artistic form known as straight up copying, which is absolutely fine, you know. We were talking as well that it feels so open ended that we felt like we should get a sequel. Would you work on the sequel if Jake asked you to?
Oh, definitely, yes, always.
Would there anything you'd ask for?
Have a budget.
It would be more money. That would be the thing. I think we're gonna harangue Jake as much as we can and try and get him to make a sequel, something. We want more. I feel like we need more after that film, don't we?
Yeah, definitely. It's good.
And are you working on anything currently, or is anything in the pipeline that would be the same?
I've been working on, so I did costume anyway, so I've just been working on Les Mis. That's it. Show.
Wow. Okay. Was this kind of like the springboard for you, this film, or is this just another project you happen to be working on?
No. So I sort of I got asked to do this and help out. And then I kind of drifted a little bit, did styling stuff, drifted a little bit, had kids, and then came back into it.
Wow, amazing. And that's obviously that's sometimes what happens. And it's all come back to this huge screening, really exciting 4K restoration of Razorblade Smile. We will be sharing obviously with our audiences soon about how you can purchase this when it comes out, everything like that.
Buy, it's good.
Do buy, because it's
watching the second time now, and it's fucking awesome.
I would say it's fucking awesome, definitely. Buy the Blu-ray because it might go towards Dina's costume budget for Razorblade Smile 2. What could the tagline be for that, Andy? Oh, I like it. See, that was straight off the top of the dome, that was.
Straight off the top of his head.
He's a great guy. Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of the festival.
And you. Nice to meet you.
Hello, I'm here with Janine Pike, friend of the show, regular Horror Hangout podcast guest, and Neil Marshall, director of Dog Soldiers, The Descent, Doomsday, Hellboy, and lots more. And here to discuss, obviously we're here at FrightFest. It was an absolute pleasure to see them both. And we're here to discuss Footsteps, the short film that Janine has out. Is it finished?
It is almost finished, yes. It's been edited by Neil, so we've got picture lock, and it's almost been sound edited. It's got the Foley and the score and all of that, so we're nearly there. We're closing it.
Very, very close. How was the process of working with Janine on this? Obviously, you've worked together on various projects, but was this any different for you in terms of the project you've been working on previously?
It was pretty straightforward, really. Also, technical stuff, but that's just because I'm not a technical editor, so I had to figure out some technical side of things. But once that was sorted, it was great just to get stuck in and start cutting.
We're really excited to see it. Can you give us any sort of sneak peek about, or any information that perhaps you've not shared yet that could be an exclusive for the Horror Hangout podcast?
No, because they'll give it away. But it has a slightly tweaked ending, which all comes from Neil. So. Yes.
Oh, okay. So was this your idea to tweak the ending?
Yes, it was.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a
full collaboration. Yeah, so that's it.
A full collaboration. Interested to know what your working relationship is like. How have you found working with Neil? Like, obviously, with the fact that he directed one of your favorite films of all time, a film that you wrote a book about. Yeah. So, how does it feel collaborating with Neil so regularly?
Very exciting, obviously, but mostly I learned so much from him. It's kind of like, because I've been lucky enough to have Neil on both of the films that I've shot. He's been there on set. So I can use him as like a sounding board, just to be able to check things and whatnot. And definitely, for me, my confidence has been growing with that as well. Because when we did Footsteps, I was asking him questions like every few minutes. And then for Charlie Foxtrot, it wasn't so much that I needed to keep asking him questions. It's just knowing that he was there was really helpful. And then just little bits and pieces where he might whisper in my ear, just get an extra shot of that kind of thing. Just because everything's so stressful and like sort of everything's driven by time. But having him there has been absolutely amazing for me.
Inner editor coming out and
Yes.
like, quick, get that shot. But I mean, also like I just lurk in the shadows on these sets, like, but there's nothing worse than lurking on somebody else's film set. So I had to give myself a job. So I became a stills photographer on the last one as well. It's just like, okay, I can be useful here.
Emotional support blanket for Janine.
Yeah, she doesn't need that. She's all right.
I'm not suggesting you need it for a second, but it's always nice. It's always nice.
It is. It's nice to have your own like favorite director and mentor there with you. So yeah, it's been really good for me to be able. Because of course, although I've always been a big film fan, I've kind of come into filmmaking quite late in my life. So what I kind of lack in experience, I make up for in passion and drive. But having Neil's experience has just made it so much easier for me to be able to pick things up.
Janine Pye, one of the hardest working women in film currently. Every time she posts, we're like, something else coming out, something else coming up. Do you have a day off?
No.
No days off. And I just wanted to mention briefly as well the book about the descent, which you guys are currently working on after the success of Sausages. Can you tell us anything about what stage that's at or when we should possibly expect a release?
We are collating one of the interviews with the majority of the cast and crew at the moment. We've got a deadline of December to get sort of like the first drafts and everything over to the publisher. It's going to be a lovely colour, glossy coffee table book. So it'll be a little bit different to Sausages. But you should be able to expect a release around next summer to coincide with the anniversary.
Absolutely amazing. How did it feel to revisit the descent? So is it the 20th anniversary we're approaching? Is that correct? 20th anniversary next year. So yeah, how did it feel to revisit everything about that film?
Well, I mean, it was kind of like the Sausages experience of like I've always dreamed of having like a making of book about my films, which is like because I collect making of books of other people's films. So to have something like this, that's a coffee table book, or whatever, is just such an honor.
Amazing, an absolute honor. We're looking forward to it. Of course, we'll continue to update our audiences about when we should expect the release of Footsteps, of course, and the Descent book. But for now, thank you so much for catching up with me, Janine, and of course, Neil. Thank you. See you soon.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. Cheers.
Hangout.
Hello, here I am on the final day of FrightFest. Anyone would think we're a bit tired, but not us. We're still on it, and I am surrounded by an embarrassment of talent riches, which are, of course, Jake West, director of, amongst other things, the 4K restoration of Razorblade Smile. How you doing, Jake?
I'm doing very well indeed. Had an amazing screening last night of it, and it just looked $1 million. You guys were there. You saw it for the first time.
Saw it in person, and I'm so glad we did. Behind some of the magic we saw on screen was the prop designer, Neil Jenkins. Neil.
Hello.
The wizard, the prop master. Some actors breaking some of your props and stressing you out. We had some stories on set.
Well, yes. Only because it was during the rehearsal and the camera wasn't turning. It would have been fine, but yeah, when losing a prop in a rehearsal is always a bad idea.
Have you spent the following years between release and restoration working on actor-proof props?
Very much so. I learned a lot that day. Mainly, don't give Chris Adamson something that you don't care about, that you want to see again, because he will break it.
And completing the trio, we have Aaron Truss. Aaron, how are you? Your credentials speak for themselves. Producer, director of The Cult of VHS, of The Rob Knox Story, of Paradolia. How are you doing, Aaron?
I'm great. You missed out Dreamweaver, but well, I'll let that one slide. I'm great, thank you. Thank you so much for asking.
I mean, that just comes in your little box that Ben will insert there. Dreamweaver's all. How's your collective FrightFest been? I will go in reverse order.
It's been absolutely amazing. It's probably like our 6th day because we started with the quiz and rightfully should have won, but we didn't. But that's another story. I'm after you. But there have been some amazing films: Samurai in Time, Ghost Game, the 4K restoration of A Nightmare on Elm Street, and The Hitcher. That was incredible. I saw that with Jake for the first time ever. Rutger Hauer blew me away. And of course, Razorblade Smile. And I'm seeing Generation Terror today.
We will talk a little bit more about Razorblade Smile's restoration moment. How about you? Some favourite picks?
I'm just happy to be here because FrightFest is obviously one of my favourite places, but I think this is the first time in about 8 years I've actually managed to make it to the festival because I've always been working on something. I haven't actually seen anything other than Razorblade Smile because that's what I came here for last night.
but hopefully we'll get to see a couple of things today. Just big shout out to Pauline and Alan and Greg, because they always do an amazing job, and it's more than twice the size it was last time I was here. So they're sucker for punishment, aren't they? It's an amazing place, though. Absolutely love it.
They certainly are. We've got the weather for being inside today as well. Too much sun. Jake, the man of the hour last night. What was it like seeing Razorblade Smile restored in front of an audience on a cinema screen again after all these years?
Yeah, I mean, it was quite an incredible experience because, like I say, the film is over 26 years old. It's actually older than FrightFest. So I never thought that we'd be able to get to play it at FrightFest because our premiere was in 1998 originally. It was Phantasm 98, which Alan Jones was involved in at the time. But to bring it to FrightFest was like on their 25th anniversary, and I obviously want to wish them a happy 25th. But what an event they've put on. I mean, they're always topping themselves, and props to Paul, Greg, Ian, and Alan. They've really pulled it out of the hat here at the Odeon this time, and playing Razorblade Smile on that screen, beautiful cinema screen, but with the sound and the projection was just absolutely amazing. So for me, it was like a bit of a dream come true, to be honest. And it's the version of Razorblade Smile that I've always wanted it to be like. So it now looks better. The film has got younger. The film is a vampire. It's younger than it was when it started.
Timeless. And you warned us sitting in the front row, myself included, that being that close we could see something you don't see in films nowadays, film grain. And I tell you what, even in row one, I loved it. It was great.
Fantastic, yeah. Well, the thing is like I said, at FrightFest, because pretty much most films now are shot digitally. And there has been a few 4K restorations this year, like The Hitcher and Nightmare on Elm Street, but those films are shot on 35mm with decent budgets. We shot on standard 16mm, so that when we're scanning that at 4K, I mean, you're really going into the grain. You're looking at it like the 16mm standard neg on double perf is like less than half the size of a postage stamp. So it's kind of like but I love that look. I love that real analog feel because it really suits a vampire film as well, I think.
I almost want another documentary, if you could get to work on this, Aaron, of you and the team painstakingly going through all of these frames of footage and trying to actually restore this.
I went over to Jake's not long ago, and he was showing me the process in which he was cleaning up the footage that had been digitized. It's a process called dust busting, and Jake had to painstakingly go through frame by frame on the whole film. And, I could see on the cursors and the markers that he put on the frames, and he played it through for me, and it was just like, all over the screen, like I was like, "Oh my god, you found all these!" And I know Jake would be kicking himself, going, "Oh, another bit, another bit." When we were watching it last night, the truth is that I watched it last night. I had to basically finish the DCP to give it to FrightFest, but they were screaming for it last week, so I made up the DCP and did it. I'm actually doing a second pass on that now, but it looks pretty amazing. But there's still some bits where I need to give it just a little bit more attention. But yeah, it was basically despotting, getting rid of dust or hairs and things that come on film. Sometimes burns through the whole film where the neg is aged badly. There were some breaks and crackles, and some of it was in quite bad shape. So it took months, but it's looking, like I say, it's looking $1 million now.
A labour of love. And spoilers for our full review of it in a little while. I've never seen it before. I loved it. It's going to be something I recommend. He certainly deserves to find a new audience and get some recognition now, because I said to people as we came out, didn't tell me you'd made a Bond film. It was, but I also know that you made this for an incredibly limited budget, right? And I think you can see every single penny that you put to work and get it onto the screen. I'm going to turn to the man who had to squeeze some of those pennies harder than most, right? So on a 20,000 budget it was?
Well, the actual production budget when we were shooting was £12,000.
Yeah.
That budget. The 20 grand was getting the post, so I had an edit of the film done. We paid to get the Russian tennis in it, and then I edited it on beta, beta SP as it was at the time, which is a tape format. So I had access to a linear edit suite. That's what I used to cut it. So it was 20 grand to get the finished version of the film, and then we took that to Cannes, and then it got picked up. Then we got additional money to fly it up to 35mm, do a proper sound mix. But the film was essentially, the production budget was 12 grand, the post-production budget was another 8, and then then it got picked up. But yeah, that's all we had to make the film. So Neil had a
What was your portion of that 12?
The art budget for the movie was £500, and I came in under. So there's a lesson there for anyone who wants to be a designer. Firstly, make a horror movie, because those are things that you can realise. But you also have to have the right people. You have to have the right attitude, and you have to be realistic. But you also have to understand that it's going to be an absurd amount of work, and you must have the ask for forgiveness, not permission attitude. Because otherwise you can't achieve the things that you want to achieve. And I think Razorblade Smile stands as a testament of what can be done if you have the ambition and you've got the right people and you have the attitude. You don't necessarily need the resources and the finance as long as you've got the will to achieve it. And we had that but we had no finance at all. I mean, I was given £500 and I came in under. I've got a receipt somewhere, which is my total, and it comes into £496.62, I think, is the final budget spend. And a large proportion of that was hiring 2 flintlock pistols from Bapty, which we stretched in cutting to make it look like we had 6 of them. But there was only 2 of them, and that was my major expense. Everything else was either stuff that we had as our own personal belongings. I mean, Jake shot in his house, his bedroom, Dina's house, her bedroom. We used our own belongings. I have a huge collection of gothic props and things just from growing up as a goth punk kid. And all the skulls and the coffin we repurposed from Club Death. We just used the 7-pointed stars were made for Club Death. Yeah, we utilised a kind of very DIY ethic and that attitude of like we just do it and worry about whether we were allowed to much later on down the line. And so there's things in there that potentially nowadays you probably wouldn't be able to get away with, but I'm sure there's things now that people can get away with if they just try. So if you're thinking, you could never have a gunfight in the middle of Tunbridge Wells without asking for permission, like we did, and you're probably right. But there's things that you can do. If it's that thing of like, you've got to make it happen. If you want to make a movie, there's no one to stop you, and there's no reason why you shouldn't. Well, there's thousands of reasons, but you just don't listen to them. You've just got to go out there and do it. And I think that's the thing that Razorblade Smile shows in abundance. It's not the greatest film. It wears its budget very, very clearly. But we had the attitude, and we had the will and the resources. We had the right people in the right places, I think, to 99.9% of obviously Mr. West, and but we were just happy to help.
Essentially the core crew of that film was just 5 people. That's all I need. I just needed those 5 people to be really very good, and that's the key. If you want to get a film made, you can't make a film on your own. Well, certainly not something like Razorblade Smile. But getting those 5 people who can get, like, you need a good cinematographer, good costume designer, a good production designer and art department. You need someone to record sound, and that's where every day we were struggling to get a sound man, and sometimes I was recording sound, and the sound men were getting beaten up and dropping like flies, and the one person with the other key person we needed, but we never found the right person, so it was a bit weaker than it should have been. We never had a good special effects makeup person, so we had to kind of jury rig a lot of that ourselves, and Neil did a lot of things there too. So that's the person we were lacking. I didn't have that makeup guy who was enthusiastic, and we actually had someone who was a bit of hard work and would disappear. So, but those are the things you have to work with at the time, But like Neil, everything Neil says is absolutely correct about if you're a low budget filmmaker, you don't have to ask anyone to make your film. You just go and do it. And like I say, when we did that gunfight in Tunbridge Wells, like literally now an armed response unit would turn up and probably shoot us. But when we did that, on that day, I did phone the police to say to them, we are going to be shooting guns off in this location.
You told them a different location, so they went there.
I told them the location just in case, because if they did send an armed response unit, because we were using real blank firing guns there, then they are as loud, as noisy as real guns. And this is in a public area. And we did that. And the police said to me, they said, "Sir, we strongly advise that you do not do this." But they didn't send anyone. They didn't shut us down. But maybe they didn't even believe us. But if anyone called it in, the archers shooting in winter. It's fucking freezing and nobody else was out. I'm not part of the old person walking their dog. But yeah, it was, like I say, we really did push the limit of what you could get away with, which was kind of fun as well.
I mean, a wonderful story of finding a way. Before that, when that was a phrase that we can all be inspired by, and really, as you've said, taking what you had and really getting it up there on screen to make it happen. And Razorblade Smile, as the 4K restoration becomes available and it's easier to get you to get in your hands, everybody listening. I know Ben himself found himself a VHS copy in a shop not too long ago. But get this up, everybody. It is really good stuff. Before we close out for today, I know, gentlemen, you're also working in the world that we share together as colleagues, as podcasters as well. Tell me a little bit more about Star Craving Cinema. It kept me company on my train ride down here to FrightFest.
Which episode?
It was Andy Nyman who I was listening to. Yeah. Tell us a little bit how you got involved in that.
Oh, well, I'm kind of like the Ernie Hudson of the group. So I came in very last minute, and it was purely because they needed my skills as a web designer and social media and doing trailers and things like that to help promote them online. But the backbone has been Jake and Paul. Simon Boswell did an amazing score for the podcast. And also Ashley Thorpe as well has done some amazing animations, which you can catch in your FrightFest program as well, if you're at FrightFest. And but yeah, Jake's been producing it. He's been editing it. It's actually, I don't mean to toot our own horn here, but I love listening to the podcast because Jake has a way of just cutting out all the fat, and you get rid of the ums and the ahs, and you get like really good juicy stories out of these guys. And it's almost like a 101 in filmmaking and acting and being in the industry, and finding out about pop culture before I was even born. So I love the show. It's fantastic.
Got another 6-hour train journey home in a bit. I'll be listening to another couple of episodes. Yeah, thank you all. I will let you get on, enjoy the rest of some of your last day out in the sunshine. And we've got another couple of films to catch before we all head home until at least Halloween. But yeah, thank you very much, all.
Oh, thank you. It's always a pleasure to hang out with all.
You guys are great.
We'll see you for Phantasm 3, right?
Absolutely.
Hangout.
Here we are, Ben, together once again for a little review wrap-up of some of the films we've seen. It's our last day at FrightFest. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling very tired now. We've been going to bed at probably averaging 4 a.m. every night for various reasons. Obviously, we've been going out, but we've just ended up just getting home about that time as well. So sleeping at 4, waking at 9 is kind of I'm not used to that at all. So I'm starting to feel, to be fair, I've made it this far feeling pretty good. So now I'm starting to feel like a big old fog of a man.
Party people.
24-hour party people. I feel like a mist of a man. As vampires or Dracula sometimes would turn into a mist, like is discussed in Razorblade Smile. I feel like a mist right now.
Yeah, I feel like I've missed a few hours of sleep.
That's good. That's very good.
Back to work tomorrow as well, right? Back to the coalface tomorrow. So
yeah, absolutely.
Get some rest at some point. About back end of October, maybe.
Discussing Razorblade Smile, of course, we went to the 4K restoration screening last night, and you would have already listened to our interviews with costume designers, stars of, and director Jake West, and production designer Neil as well. So we're going to just briefly talk about that. We won't go into too much details. I think we've got like 45 minutes of Razorblade Smile content so far. We recorded some bits for the Blu-ray extras as well. Me and Andy got on screen talking about our experience watching the film. And I will say, and I'll reiterate what I said then, I think it is very cheesy, very 90s, very over the top, some unbelievably ridiculous one-liners, but overall it is still a very well put together film and a good time. And the performances are great. Like I was enjoying the duration. I was never ever bored. And as we said, £20,000 budget, and every single pound of that is up on screen, and the restoration is looking great. And we were in row A, so we saw every tiny little detail.
Every single bit of film grain on there, which Jake points out, maybe for our distance was too close, but I was there for it. It was a great time. I really found it an exciting movie. I'm going to be recommending it to people. If you want just a fun vampire movie with hints of, you can tell that Lara Croft was big at the time. There's big Tomb Raider energy. There's Bond energy. I had a blast with Razor Blade Smile, and genuinely some surprises narratively as well. Brilliant.
Yeah, and Jake previously mentioned that before that he was working on some like cutscenes for PlayStation games, and I get that vibe. Like there are real cutscenes from like live action cutscenes from PlayStation games into it. Like it's got that quintessential like British but sort of like lo-fi energy to it as well, and it's very tongue in cheek. And there are, as we mentioned, there are some ridiculous lines. For example, what's long and hard and comes at night? I think that was the question.
Don't spoil the joke, then.
Don't spoil the joke.
You want the punchline?
The joke is something not sexual related.
No, but
still, we'll say no more. Go watch Razor Blade Smile to get the punchline for that joke. But yeah, like loads of actual bits of dialogue. You know when pieces of dialogue happen and you kind of roll your eyes? Like, I didn't. There were bits of that dialogue in another film, I would roll my eyes. But with this film, with its tongue in its cheek and the way it delivers these frills and spills, I was into it. I was really into it, and I was sat 2 seats away from Christopher Adamson, who we interviewed at the end as well. And I did kind of just keep glancing over whenever he appeared on screen. I glanced over, and he just had that big smile on his face. So this film is obviously very important to the family of people who made it, and of course the fans of it as well. I think we'll give our audiences as much information as we can about when that 4K restoration is available to purchase on Blu-ray, but I'm definitely going to be picking up a copy.
Yeah, same. Not just because we might be on it.
No, not just because of that, but because of that as well. Also, did we want to talk about anything we've seen today on day 5? So what we're going to do today, here's what we're going to do. Wrap up what we've seen and kind of do a little bit of a wrap-up of the whole thing, mainly because we're going to go and watch Generation Terror documentary, but not long after that, we both have to leave at different times. So we're not really going to get a chance to do an official catch-up, roundup. So we're doing it now. So chronologically, I guess we should possibly... We might have another interview.
To get another interview, but we'll do our wrap-up now, and we'll do a pause, Ben, in case you want to splice it in to future Ben and Andy if this happens.
If there's any interviews this, let's go. Hello, everybody. We've just watched Generation Terror, the documentary, which premiered here at FrightFest. It was absolutely delightful. I'm here with Zoe Rose Smith, former guest of the show, quiz winner of the Horror Hangout.
Quiz winner, yes.
Quiz winner. I'm still contested it to this day. And Taibhse, so you scored the movie Generation Terror.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, I'm the composer for the movie, and it's been just wonderful to be
both the composer and Zoe appeared on the big screen discussing everything from Generation Terror, extreme horror, 2000s horror, everything and beyond. How was the experience of watching it on the big screen?
A little bit surreal. Can't say I love watching myself on screen, but the documentary itself was absolutely amazing. So I loved that.
So many amazing people included, so many amazing collaborators. You've officially co-starred now with the likes of Rob Zombie, for example.
Yeah, that is quite... I'm putting that on my gravestone or something. For sure.
You put it on your gravestone?
Oh, yeah.
We're already jumping towards death with Zoe.
Oh, yeah, that's my one big achievement, and now I'm done, and, claim to fame's gone.
I mean, I'm sure there are plenty more in the pipeline. Plenty more. This is just the beginning, surely.
Yeah, loads more to come, I'm sure.
Loads more, including, of course, your video essay was included on the second sight release of Possessor as well. Amazing achievement. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I am very grateful to Sarah and Phil for giving me lots of opportunities at Second Sight, Possessor. Also got Gonjam coming out. I think there's another one coming out soon. I've kind of lost track, but yeah, getting to do lots of physical media releases, which is good because it's keeping physical media alive, which is what we need.
Let's keep physical media alive. Physical media for the win. Taibhse, can I just quickly ask you about the with composing the movie, what inspired you to create the soundtrack? Because it is very new metal, it's very that early 2000s vibe, and of course you're wearing a Deftones t-shirt, so I need to query that more. Can you just tell us a bit about that?
Absolutely, man. I mean, it was just like getting back into my bedroom, but basically I still live in the same kind of bedroom. I mean, I just bring my whole childhood and teenage time, with me. I just keep listening to metal and new metal, and so of course Deftones, Rob Zombie, obviously, Marilyn Manson, Disturbed, Korn, all the big influences of that early 2000s, late 90s that I finally, as a guitarist, I could bring onto the screen. It was very satisfying and very fun to do.
It's a great score and ever so loud, wasn't it? In that cinema, which is great.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just pure luxury, man.
It's the kind of sound system you want to hear your music played for, isn't it? Yeah, and I have one more question, Zoe, and I mentioned it to you earlier, but can we just talk through the amount of layers you were wearing in the film? Because I was quite impressed by that. I was trying to count. I'm assuming that they took you to some cold, disused warehouse somewhere, like, what was it, like the middle of January or something?
So, yeah, that's been the biggest comment from everyone. They were like, why are you dressed up so many layers? So we were in an abandoned church in South London in the middle of winter. So I think I've got a T-shirt on, a long sleeve. I also have a leather jacket underneath a huge winter coat as well. And I was still shivering the whole way through. But I was like, that is like a horror setting. So I was like, it's fine.
Well, the only thing that was missing was like your big old duvet or something. A warm ball underneath.
Oh, you didn't see that. I was just off screen, that bit.
That was just off screen, yeah. Of course, we interviewed Sarah and Phil on the show for a bonus episode recently, so we'll give all of our audience a shout once it's available to stream anywhere. But yeah, congratulations, both of you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, man.
Hangout.
So this morning, at day 5, I saw a film called The Dead Thing, which was kind of the director described it as like, it sounds like a Blumhouse concept, which is, going dating on the old dating apps. What if you match with a ghost? That was kind of the crux of that. But it was handled in a very different way to perhaps a Blumhouse film would be. I think you could see it going in some very obvious directions with Blumhouse. Not all Blumhouse, of course. Some Blumhouse films are great, but some of them, especially ones released recently, may go into a tad generic territory. This was really good. The lead performance is great. It's set in LA, but it hasn't got like that over. It doesn't feel kind of like washed out and kind of overly. What do I think?
Exposed?
Yeah, maybe. It kind of feels saturated. Yeah, overly saturated. It doesn't feel like that. It's kind of still very like quiet and measured, and the pacing is quite slow. But I was kind of interested to see where it would go. And again, there were some shocks, there were some twists I didn't see coming. And it looks beautiful, and it's got a lovely typography title, which is nice. I like it when there's some care and attention taken into like the title card of the film. Some lovely off-white colours of it as well, which is beautiful. So that was that. You went into the short film showcase this morning. Short film showcase number 3.
Short film showcase number 3. 11 short movies. I don't think there was a bad one in the bunch. All really enjoyable. All a mix of genres, from a chef taking revenge whenever he gets a 1-star review of his restaurant by murdering former customers who are unsatisfied, to a very short, like 2 or 3 minute long musical number featuring singing cakes.
Singing cakes?
Yeah, and there is a brilliant one as well about exorcism that I really enjoyed as well, where a demon perhaps has formed an emotional attachment to a priest because they gave him the best exercising of their lives, and is basically feels like they're trying to pursue a relationship with someone that doesn't want one. A lot of fun. I will look up, because there's so many titles and creators there, we couldn't possibly credit everyone at the right time here. So in a written format for show notes, I'll pull those out. We will, if any of them are available on streaming platforms, we will add links there to the notes as well, so people can start to view them for themselves as they become available. But a really, really good mixture from the 2 short film showcases I've made it to this event. It's been a really strong batch, and they reviewed an awful lot. So one of the organisers was telling us 800 odd, which is about 7 weeks worth of like a lot of films to get through.
Wow, big time. There will be some stragglers for us to pick up, that we will pick up on next week's episode. There may be a few more screeners that we will check out this week and discuss whatever next week's episode happens to be. I think we've got something in mind, but we haven't fully decided upon that, so keep an eye on our socials for that. A little whistle there.
I like the gopher and Winnie the Pooh.
And we're off to see Generation Terror, a documentary we interviewed Sarah Appleton and Phil from Generation Terror on a previous bonus episode. So we'll be checking out, maybe getting some more interviews before we round off the day. I say that chronologically, you may have just seen them. So, in terms of what we usually do in terms of FrightFest awards, we usually pick a film, pick a director, pick an actor, pick some other things. Because we think there's lots to discuss and lots to digest, we're going to
rush it, do we?
We don't want to rush it. We are going to make that a feature on next week's episode. But also, if you keep an eye on our social media, we will try and post something about what our award picks are before that. Block it over there. And
your enemy, Blockhead.
Yeah. The thing about FrightFest is, right, you make tons and tons and tons of friends. Dozens of friends. And I'm not a man who keeps many friends. Merely acquaintances, usually. I've made tons of friends. But occasionally, you make one or two minor enemies. And I think that's part and parcel of this, being in the same cinema screen as, like, loads of other people for 5 days straight. You happen to make some minor enemies. I'm not talking about anything super serious here. Just someone who might do something slightly annoying. People have talked about using their phones and obviously and stuff like that. That doesn't bother me massively. But other things, I think for the most part, the crowd here, absolutely lovely. Everyone's willing to speak to you. Everyone's willing to say hello. I feel like I felt the love this year more than ever before. And last year I really enjoyed it. I went away from thinking that was absolutely great, a great networking event, but also I feel like I've made some real strong connections with people. And this year, even more so.
Yeah, same. I think there is a lovely sense of community here, not just from the creators, but also the people who are here just to enjoy films. I had lovely chats with people who've sat by in a lot of the discovery screens about things that they've enjoyed, their reviews, like just how they're doing, talking about why they come here every year. And I would heartily recommend it. To the right level, I would encourage you to do it, not so it's more difficult for me to get tickets. If you could just wait till we confirm I've got tickets, will you dive in there and make it harder for me? That would be great. But you know, it's great, and I am very grateful, and it is really humbling. I know that we've talked about this plenty of times, Ben. I think you and I would do this podcast just because it's an opportunity to watch a horror movie every week and sit down and talk to your mate about it. The very fact that we have bumped into people who listen, who are interested in listening in the future, who are willing to share a bit of their time and talk to us, you know, we're not from ITV3 or anything, but people spend time and share their time with us. It's incredibly humbling. It's really nice.
People have had nice things to say to us as well. I appreciate the work we do, which is great. Like, because we do genuinely love it. Like, we would be having conversations like this with people. Anyway, it just so happens we think, you know, this is gold. This is pure gold, and we need to get it on film and get it on the podcast. So we're over the moon. Of course, we appreciate the opportunity to be able to do these things. We've had with support from our Patreon as well. That's helped us in the past and this year be able to get here and cover everything. So if you're
we've been having a chat about Patreon while we've been here. We've got some new ideas. I know when things have been busy, we've had to dial back on that to get rid of. You're planning a wedding. I've been very busy with the day job, but I think we've had some lovely chats on some of our extended enforced marches home that I put us through after the pub, where we've got some great new ideas for some new Patreon content. So also keep an eye on the socials for that. I think we'll get posted, maybe have a revamp of some of those tiers and give you reasons more than ever to come and join us on there for some juicy bonus content, as well as just to help out your favourite spooky boys.
Yeah, we said squeaky boys then. Squeaky bum time.
Squeaky the same.
Also,
my voice after this weekend.
Also, I mean, a big thanks to the extended Horror Hangout family as well. That's right. We're going to be that. We're going to be those guys, the Horror Hangout family. You know, people who've appeared on the show on numerous episodes. People we've seen here. Some people we've met for the first time. Some people we've met for the second, the third, the fourth time. It's amazing to be able to have those people involved. Such wonderful creative voices be willing to sort of involve themselves with us in terms of the way we record the podcast. So yeah, that's absolutely great, and I'm already looking forward to next year and making more and more wonderful FrightFest memories.
Indeed. No further notes, Ben. let's go home.
No further notes. Let's go home. I always saw as like a closing title card of us walking off into the sunset, and then right at the end, clicking our heels, and it freeze frame.
Gonna finish in a bit of name game.
Well, I mean, I didn't expect that, but yeah, why not?
Okay, so in this, the dark heart of aviation cinema.
You're not doing films; you're doing the actual title of FrightFest.
Yeah, the dark heart of aviation cinema, where all things are about aeronautical.
What is aviation cinema? Is that just like The Aviator? That's the only one I can think of. The Aviator, but that being Dunkirk.
It's all about aeronautical things. It's all about aeroplanes, helicopters, birds. Actually,
it's bloody FrightFest, isn't it?
It is.
It's FrightFest.
Congratulations! I only got one.
You only got one. Well, I've enjoyed the dark art of cinema. It's been absolutely great. I saw a lot of people out the front just flying these things in the sky, attached by string, big shapes catching the wind and flying around.
Rhombuses,
yeah.
Is that Kite Fest?
It's Kite Fest. I'd go to a Kite Fest, wouldn't you?
Certainly would. Watch out for those strings, though. Choking hazard.
An extreme choking hazard. Have you got any more for me? Shite Fest. It was shite, this fest.
No. Listen, one more for you. In this festival, people go, and instead of a cinema, it's a big laundrette, and they put your clothes through on a very, very hot wash, even if they're not suitable for that, and then your clothes are a little bit more snug when you put them back on.
Oh, see, that was what I was going to go for. Tight Fest. I was worried then you were going to be talking about like
Hosiery.
Tight Fest or putting clothes in the wash with other things, and I was going to go White Fest, but we don't want to attend that.
I'm not finishing on that one.
I got no interest in going to White Fest. I've got one. It might be similar. I went to the Dark Heart Cinema. It was absolutely great, but I was pinching the pennies every single turn. I was filling up my water bottle in the bathroom, and for food, I just went and did a minesweep in Burger King and got as many fries as I could.
Is that Tight Fest in a different sense?
It's Tight Fest in a different sense. Yes, it is. Tell you what, it can be bloody expensive, this Fright Fest, can it?
I know. I feel like if you listen to that interview, probably burned more than the production budget of Razorblade Smile over the weekend.
Absolutely.
This is London.
Well, thank you very much. As we mentioned before, if you want us to do more of this sort of stuff, because I know we've only really done Fright Fest, but we did have our eyes on some other festivals. If you want us to do more stuff like this, please let us know. Point us in the direction of what horror film festivals you want us to cover, whether it would be remotely or not. But for now, we're going to say goodbye. Literally, as that happens, Emma Cownley walks over. We're doing our final roundup.
How's it going?
How the devil are you?
I'm amazing. Started the day with a great film. We're ready to finish on a high.
What did you watch?
The Dead thing. Loved it. Did you love it?
I did love it, yeah.
What was it then that sparked your interest?
I just think in terms of a concept, it was just delivered in a way that was completely unexpected. I think, it's a dating app, and then I don't think this is a spoiler, but dating app, and no, I'm actually with a ghost.
Yeah.
And he's bloody jealous. I kind of feel like, I could picture in my head what kind of film that would be, and it was nothing like that. So it was good, unexpected, and great lead performance.
I would agree with that. The sense of loneliness and isolation, hollowness, the desperation for human contact, genuine connection, and the fact that you'd be willing to submit to toxic situations in order to fulfill that, even beyond death. Wow. Also, it was like a cry wank. But if you were too hollow and empty to cry, and you couldn't stop doing it, even though you knew it wasn't healthy, but beautiful.
That's the chaotic energy I would love to finish on today.
We were just trying to finish. We're just saying goodbye, but of course we're happy to carry on. Well, we've got one more film we need to talk about, which was the film you watched yesterday with Bella Thorne, which was called
St. Clair. Loved it. I'm here for anything to do with female rage. Female rage narratives are my lifeblood. Beautiful. It was so lush. Everything about it was beautifully shot. Like Catholic Renaissance, evocative, darkly funny. It's everything I look for in a horror, I have to say. I'll watch it again.
Is that contending for your top spot, or is it as you
I'm going to say, yeah, that and the dead thing.
Oh. I mean, you should join us for the awards. We're gonna go home and think about it.
Yeah.
Putting you on the spot, giving you homework. Do you want to send us your list of awards as well?
Yeah, I will. I'll do that.
We'll do so. Best film, best performance, best director,
surprise.
stuff like that. Biggest surprise was Emma Cownley suddenly appearing while we were doing our outro and delivering two of the hottest reviews of the whole episode.
Off the top of the dome.
Off the top of the dome. That Dead Thing review. Wow.
I was thinking about it all the way through. I was like, how would I articulate this as a review? And that's not even a funny joke. I actually was thinking that.
And I just went, "It's all right, Governor." It was absolutely lovely. Well, what a time and what a note to end on. End on the episode. It's been delightful. I hope everyone's had a lovely Fright Fest. I sure have. It's been an emotional, wonderful experience, and I'm ready to do it all over again. Are you both?
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah.
They'll sleep first, but then yeah.
A little disco nap, and then we'll be back on it. Okay, thanks for listening, everybody. It's been a pleasure. Goodbye.
Bye.